Hello, everybody. Thank you for jumping in here tonight. We got another fun Thursday night movie club going on. I'm excited to get back on here. I feel like I've been a little off track lately, but getting back on there, trying to get on a more regular schedule to hang out with everybody and, have some fun guests on like we do tonight. So I'm not going to waste any time here. I'm going to go ahead and we got Jake Steelbook Obsessed in here tonight with us.
What's going on, Corey?
Man, not much. I like I said, we were talking a little bit, backstage before we went live. I think all of us have just been really busy lately.
Yeah,
A little worn down, not in a bad way, but just life, work, family, everything. Nothing bad, but just
just life. Yeah.
it's life. It's a lot of stuff going on, but I always look forward to these things because it's kind of fun to be able to hang out with. A friend like you to talk to and then see who all is going to jump in the chat for the night. So,
Yeah, I mean, I've had the pleasure of meeting you in person a couple of times
yeah,
now, and
right.
we kind of planned out, hey, you'd be on my thing, I'd be on yours, and
Yep.
it's always nice to just kind of catch up and talk, Corey, because
Yeah.
I feel like we're kind of kindred souls. We're both Iowa boys. We just kind of
Yep.
have a lot in common, that's for sure.
Yep, absolutely. And like you said, got to meet a couple times in person, and that's one thing that's been kind of cool about this whole experience getting into YouTube. I never thought that would be a part of it.
Sure.
Nothing against it, but I just, when I first started jumping into it, and I'm still really new to it, I just didn't think about that aspect of it. And it's been really neat to there's community that's far away from us that's fun and you get to connect with, but it's been another little thing to add on to it all, to be able to like when we met up and we're going hunting for movies, or going out to a movie to watch with some people that we've met on this, and it's kind of surreal. I think it's a lot of fun though.
It's very bonkers, and that's not why I started doing this either. But I really didn't think anybody that did this lived close enough to me to actually do a
Right.
physical, like an actual meetup in real life. So
Yep.
just a nice cherry on top and a nice added bonus for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's been a lot of fun, and that's where it kind of makes those connections even stronger when you're talking to people across this. But
Right.
and who knows, maybe in the future some of the people a little farther away, being able to connect up with them a little bit more too. But
Yeah, it'd be nice to kind of stretch out more of the
yeah,
Midwest than just kind of just like the Iowa chunk.
I know.
Hmm.
But then do you ever wonder though, like, so I never, when I ran into you and met you for the first time, I'm like, okay, you're not, I mean, we're not like next door, but not like super far away
Couple
from each
hours,
other.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You know, as big as YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all of those are,
Hmm.
I could have somebody probably a couple miles from me doing a channel that I just don't, I've never ran across before, and it's kind of weird to
Sure.
think about that.
I am able to kind of trade movies with someone that lives in the Des Moines area, and they have a podcast. And I'm just like, I feel like there's just like so many random people out there that are just like, yeah, I do a thing online. I've got a small community
Yeah.
around me, and you would just never know
Yeah.
unless you bump into them, or either bump into them virtually or bump into them in person for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's lots of fun. So
Hmm.
speaking of like community and having a lot of fun people to hang out and get to meet, we got some people jumping in the chat. So I might
Yeah,
run through that just real quick, just to say, hey, I always like saying hi to everybody that comes in. But we got
absolutely.
Collector Movie Man here saying, hey, Corey and Jake, I'm watching something really interesting on ABC. It's with Oprah. It's about the future of AI and the implications it could have.
Oof.
Well,
Only bad things.
you don't have to watch Oprah. Go put Terminator in the.
Right. It's coming to 4K soon. Yeah, that'll show you the future, man. I mean, AI is just right now, you can still kind of see what is being generated by AI, but give it a couple of years, give it like 18 months or so. And I feel like the uncanny valley is going to go away.
Oh,
And that's when we're really in for some trouble. I can't even imagine what AI is going to look like in 5 years. It's going to be nuts.
it's there's changes on the horizon for sure.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how we all adapt to it. And I've already in my work life, corporate America is taking it on in certain areas, and then I know content creators in certain areas are doing it, or even movie filmmakers are taking it on in certain areas. And so it's
Right.
interesting to see what it can do and how people in different walks of life are incorporating that and using it. But for sure. Um, We got Henry in here saying, hey, what's up, Corey? Thanks for jumping in here. Got D in here saying, hey, Corey. Love your live stream last night. You and Chilo. Always love you guys hanging out. You're so fun to hang out with. We got Prince in here saying Physical Media Hall of Famer Jake E. Boston.
How's it going, Prince?
Movie Hunter is saying, hey, everyone.
Hey.
Steelbooks. There's a vote for Steelbooks. See, there's
Perfect.
a kindred spirit there for you.
I'm assuming that'll come up tonight.
Yeah, well, you know, maybe. I might have a question or two about that.
Sure.
And with everything that's behind you, too. So, saying hi to D.
Hey.
Got Jane Doe in here. My honorary mom, I always joke around, but always love seeing you in here saying, hey, Corey and Jake. Saying hi to each other. I'll try to run through these here quick. If I skip anybody's, I apologize. I'm just trying to maximize our time, but I always love seeing everybody saying hi to each other. We got Tony Basement Blues in here.
How's it going, Tony?
Good evening. Saying hi to Jake.
Hey.
And I'll say, I know I'm running through this real quick. You are a man of many platforms. And so I have a lot of links, and I don't know if I have them all of them, but I have a lot of your links in my description.
Nice.
On this channel. So everybody, I would say, if you've never run across Jake before, go down there. Or even if you run across one, I find this a lot of times where I'm like, I run into somebody on YouTube and I didn't realize they were on Letterboxd, or I didn't realize they were on Instagram. Go look at those links. Make sure to check them out. Always great stuff going out, and you might find your next favorite, content creator. You got to check it out.
I throw my stuff out everywhere just because you never know where people are looking for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Prince is admiring your beard. So
used to be a lot longer than this too. Before I had my most recent job, it used to be like you wouldn't even be able to see the bottom of it from where I'm sitting at on the screen.
For real?
Like my image that I use all the time, I had it made when I had the long beard, so it made more sense.
Yep.
But I just haven't gotten it changed yet.
You're just keeping it a little tighter these days, right?
Yeah.
I had people. I hate shaving, and it grows in pretty good most of the time, and so I've had some encouragement for this winter. Our Iowa winters, how cold it gets. I'm having some encouragement to grow it out for this winter. So
last year was kind of mild, so I'm assuming this year is not going to be so kind.
Yeah,
so it might not be a bad idea.
It'll probably go for it, but then it just ages me though, because I get all my gray patches coming through. I
got my first gray hair when I found out I was going to have a girl, and it's just grown ever since, like in the middle here.
Yep. I got a good one right there on my.
I remember being in the Target bathroom and just looking like, is that a gray hair? Like I would just stare at it for like 5 minutes. My wife was just like, "What are you doing in there?" And
you're like, "No, it can't be."
But it's just gotten larger and larger, Corey.
Hey, it's our what do you say? Your battle scars,
right. I'm not ashamed of them. I'm not gonna get the Just for Men out anytime soon.
I've decided I'm not gonna color anything. I'm just gonna go with it. Whatever it is, it is. Take it or leave it.
Agreed.
So saying Jake Steelbook Obsessed. Saying hi to Tony. All right, I'm just gonna run through here real quick. I love everybody saying hi to each other. Always such a friendly group. So I'm gonna run through these quick. Like I said, if I skip anybody, I apologize, but Tony always got Real Ness in here saying good morning. Good morning to you. I'm assuming you're in a different. I think you're a newer name jumping in the channel, so I'd be interested if you don't mind sharing. Maybe throw out where you're located. Generally.
No addresses.
Yeah. I don't want to doc share or anything like that, but if. Just kind of curious. I love running into people in other countries. And like I said, just like meeting people around us, being able to talk to people that we might not have run across before. It's really cool connecting with somebody, across an ocean or something. So
right. Yeah, I have a lot of my it kind of shows on different platforms where your people that you watch, where your audience is from.
Yeah,
I have one that a good more than double-digit % is from the UK. I have another platform where double-digit % is from Australia. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, that's where it still blows my mind, I guess. To think that you could be sitting in your room at home and talking to somebody or somebody joining in with you from across the world.
Right. And this stuff is like second nature now ever since COVID. Like I never really did a video call period until COVID happened. And now I do them all the time.
Yeah. Well, I was late to the game, but I'm having fun jumping into it all. But,
nothing wrong with that. At least you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
I remember talking with you 2 years ago, trying to poke and prod you to do a YouTube page. And now you're doing it. And I love the stuff you're making and the live streams you're posting for sure.
I appreciate that. Yeah, exactly. That first time we met up with that group, I had not jumped into it yet, and had been thinking about it, but yeah, everybody was very supportive. You included, just saying like, yeah, just do it, try it out. But speaking of that, we got Mika in here saying hi, Corey and everyone. Mika and Kira are always fun to follow. All right, everybody's doing well here. It makes it hard for me to keep up with the chat, but I love it. Keep it going. I'm going to try to jump back and forth so I don't neglect Jake here tonight, but I like to go
you're
through.
Good. Nothing wrong with that.
Chilo is saying, "What's up, Corey? I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing pretty good, man. This, like I said, you don't have to twist my arm too hard to hang out with some friends and talk about movies or whatever, wherever we end up going with it. But love seeing that. D is saying, "Hey, friends, don't forget to lock in your like."
Can never forget. No.
Do
if you hop into somebody's live, just always press the like button.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how long you stay, it's always appreciated.
Yeah. People always I know that's always the line, but it's like, it doesn't cost anything. Just jump in and say, hit the like if you're jumping in to check some things out. Prince is saying, "I'm kind of crying right now. Two of my best buds in the movie club is a dream come true." Okay, well, there you go. There you go. I appreciate you that you think that much of us. So you guys need to come to Michigan. I haven't been to Michigan in a long time.
I don't think I've ever been to Michigan. Ever.
I think I drove through Michigan more. We drove to Toronto, Canada.
Oh, sure.
One time.
Yeah.
And so it kind of went up near Detroit and crossed over into.
See, we went to Canada and we just went straight through Minnesota.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I go to Minnesota all the time.
Yeah. I have some cousins, aunt and uncle and cousins up around that area. And that's a beautiful area.
Sure.
Some of them have migrated to Wisconsin now. So I don't know. I always tease them because I'm like, well, your Viking buddies might hit you when you're in the Packer state, so.
Yep.
We were talking football a little bit before we came on here, and you were saying you were getting to enjoy the Iowa State game, big rival.
I did the football game that was over the weekend last weekend. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm able to go like every other year. And this one was a good game. Thank goodness. And I'm a big Cyclone fan, so I'm glad they were able to squeak out that victory. Wearing my Packers colored bracelet now. My daughter made this for me, like 6 months ago or so. And it's cool. It's just made out of rubber bands and stuff. And I'm watching the Thursday night football game now, just muted. And this is not a game whatsoever. So I'm glad that I'm talking with you rather than watching the game.
I've thought about that now. I kind of landed on, I'm all over the place depending on when people can come on and talk to me. I like to accommodate more the timetable of guests that I have on, but I've landed on Thursday nights a lot of times. And I started this before, or it was after football season. And now I'm like, oh, maybe I have to rethink this. Maybe maybe too many people will be joining in for some Thursday night NFL games or something.
I like Thursdays too, but I think I'm going to have to do Tuesdays now. I was going to do Wednesday, but usually Ken goes live Wednesdays. And whenever Ken goes live, you just get out of the way because everybody's going to go watch Ken, man. I watch Ken. I enjoy his stuff too, but man, like he brings in a crowd.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for a good reason too. And it's like, I was joking with him, with a group of them one time, because when I was first starting, I was doing a few late night Sunday streams, and a couple times him and Michelle would go on with the Married with Media. And I was like, oh, it's feeling pretty good. I set my live stream up, and then I saw you guys were going live, and then I was like, oh crap. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm like, no, I'm not giving you a hard time. It's more like I would prefer to be able to jump into your stream as well,
right?
And watch that. So now when I do it, I kind of go later on that night.
And I'm usually so busy with either like making content at night or like my family has plans with stuff to where like I usually catch live streams on a replay just because that's the only time I'll be able to do it.
I do that a lot too. There's only so much so many hours in the day and only so much you can do at that set schedule. So
Yeah,
I think people appreciate that quite a bit still, jumping in later and
agreed.
seeing everything. We got Robert Makes a Cut saying, "Hey, everyone."
Hello.
Love seeing that. And we got Prince saying, "Corey, I'm a... What? Okay.
He's asking you the questions.
All right. I'm going to Uno reverse. Sorry, I had to think about it for a second. I'm really good at reading comments wrong. Slipcover or steelbook? Honestly, I'm not like a hardcore one way or the other, but if you were to say what's the coolest of each of those that you've seen and which one do you think is cooler out of those two, I'd probably say steelbook.
Yeah.
But there's been times where a steelbook is priced at a point and a slipcover is priced at a lower point, and I've gone with the slipcover too. So, but if you took the best of the best, I'd probably
slipcovers I really only care about on boutique titles when it's just like a random movie from like Universal or Sony or whatever. I don't really care if it has a slipcover or not, but
yeah,
steelbooks usually stand out from the crowd more than anything else. So I've just been hooked on them for a very long time just because they look nice.
Yeah, it seems like they can do a little more with them, with the artwork. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's usually different artwork as well.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts when you make a slipcover and it's the exact same artwork as what's on the front cover, like underneath the slip. Like, what's even the point? Like, why are you even making this slipcover?
I agree completely. I was talking to somebody about that not too long ago, and I was like, I don't mind if it comes shipped and it's the same thing as long as there's like an alternate artwork that you can flip around and do something different. But it's like when it's the exact same thing you're pulling off the front of it. I agree with you. It's like kind of like
it doesn't make me want to like look and try to even find a slipcover if it's just the exact same artwork. It's just like, yeah, okay, I'll live with it or I'll live without it. It's not going to affect me either way.
Yeah. You'll sleep well at night knowing you're okay.
Yeah. Always do. But if there's a scratch on my steelbook, oh man, I lose half a night right there.
You're done. Return. Yep. Realness was saying Skynet. Yep. We were talking about the AI earlier.
AI. Mm-hmm.
And Mika too. AI is scary. However, there are some great things that with that prove useful at work. Has been a game changer. And I'll agree. Even in corporate America, it's been incorporated in some things that have helped take a load off of some people's shoulders.
Sure.
Too, so
I'm just hoping it doesn't make a lot of jobs disappear, and I'm nervous that's what's going to happen. And if that happens, what is going to happen? I guess. Yeah.
I agree.
Corporations are always looking to kind of trim the fat any way they can. So if they can have a computer do something where it's saving them a good chunk of money, it makes no reason for them not to do it.
Agree. Yeah, there's a lot of places where it's like making the stockholders happy, and if it's so, yeah, I agree. But it's kind of crazy when you look through history, even though it wasn't AI, there's been different advancements in automation or, factory lines or whatever that have taken jobs away. And I know it's a constant worry because like you said, it's nice to have something that can help you out and take a burden off your shoulders, but at the same time, you don't want a group of people to be out of a job because of it too.
Correct.
And I know that was a big thing too, that one movie that I really enjoyed this year that I saw in the theater was Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah.
And I know it got a little, or maybe not a little, maybe a lot. I didn't follow it really close, but there was some kickback because they used AI to do some of the imagery.
One of the title cards. Yeah. Like the We'll Be Right Back kicker card. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in there we're saying like, well, that's taking jobs away from people.
Right.
But then at the same time, I know, and that's still relatively a small budget movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I know speaking with some other people that are even smaller budget films, they're trying to stretch their dollar as far as they can. And, if they can incorporate some of that, maybe that could help them make a better movie too. And so I don't have a good answer.
It's a slippery slope. That's what it is. Everything is new and we're just trying to kind of figure it all out. I think people are more upset when a big Hollywood picture uses it. Like I remember the intro title sequence in the Marvel show Secret Invasion. that was
Okay.
made entirely with AI, and people were just like, really, like strikes are going on right now, and you are putting out this show to where like an AI. It was like a minute long. Like imagine like a Bond intro, except it was like
Yep.
all made from AI, and it was supposed to be thematically kind of what the show was talking about with the secret invasion thing, and it's not supposed to look normal, but it just didn't sit right, especially with everything going on. A smaller budget movie makes more sense to use it just because they are trying to stretch their buck as much as they can. But I don't know. It still feels, it's at this point, it still feels weird to see anything AI generated in anything that has to deal with like entertainment, I guess.
Right. But do you feel like you'd be more forgiving of, say, somebody that's like, I'm maxing out my credit cards trying to make this independent film. They're pulling up, tighten the belt, pull the bootstraps up, and
Right.
they're on their own trying to make some film to get out there. And
No.
if they do a couple things with that, that means they can hire a couple more actors maybe
Yeah.
to be in
For
the film.
me, the title card in between segments of Late Night with the Devil did not affect my enjoyment
Right.
of that movie at
Mhm.
all. It's still my favorite movie of the year. And the imagery, sure, they probably could have hired somebody to make those. They decided not to go that route, and I really wasn't affected either way. I think it's a kind of a bigger picture deal when you're talking about more like animated sequences. I know
Right.
like some images. It's still very slippery. Like I don't want to talk like I'm an expert on anything here. It's
Right.
just yeah. I didn't notice in the Late Night with the Devil, even when people pointed it out. I'm just like, oh, that's it. That's not too bad.
I did the same thing because I didn't know about any of that discussion before I went in to see it because I was very late to it and I almost missed it. It was like the last night. Uh, One night I was listening to some people on YouTube talking about the movie and I'm like, I want to see this. I go
Hmm.
check, and the theater that's closest to me that I like to go to, the next night was the last night they were showing the film. So I rushed out, I saw the movie, and I didn't know anything about that discussion. And then I
Yeah.
started hearing little bits about it and I'm like, oh gosh, what all did they do? And yeah, I was kind of surprised too when I was like, oh, it was just those little I'll be right back cards, in between
Hmm.
the thing.
What'd you
But
think of the
like you
movie?
said, slippery slope. But
What'd you think
what?
of the movie, Corey?
I really, that's one of my favorite for the year.
Yeah.
Um, I'm really bummed because I pre-ordered a long time ago the Steelbook
Yeah.
for Late Night for the Devil from Amazon.
Yep.
It's supposed to be here last Tuesday.
Yep.
They're telling me now it's supposed to be the 20th.
It was supposed to
So,
be here to me today, and it wasn't. So I haven't
yep.
checked my emails in a couple hours, but I literally saw it in stores at Walmart, and I didn't pick it up because I'm like, it's coming. It's fine. I
Oh,
don't want to buy it just yet, just for FOMO reasons, I guess. But
I know, but I'm afraid of it. I've had a different one canceled on me before, and so
yeah,
I'm like, please don't do that. I'm like, I don't want to
right.
be like overreacting, but I at the same time I'm like, I pre-ordered this and you said it was
You know
ordered,
what? I guess I didn't check.
Uh-oh. Do you have
Well,
it right
I got an
there?
Amazon package because I ordered something else, but they might have put it in with this one.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to do a live unboxing here or not.
Now you're really interested to
Well,
figure
now
out.
I'm just curious. I didn't put two. It's not in here. It's not.
Okay.
It's the other thing that I thought it was.
You can do
Sometimes
that.
Amazon kind of like doubles up on their
Yeah.
packaging, so it was like maybe, but
Yeah.
no. And the steelbook looks so nice in person, and
Oh,
I thought all the goodies would be included in the steelbook. It's not. It's like a separate envelope behind it, just kind of shrink wrapped everything
oh,
together.
I didn't realize that.
I didn't
Oh,
either. I mean, that's one thing that I don't like about ordering things online rather than like in person is just because you don't know 100% what you're getting. And you know
yeah.
everything that you're getting, but you don't know how it's going to be packaged and presented to you. And that really bugs me for some reason.
Oh, so that's interesting. So it won't be stored inside of the steelbook?
When I looked at it, it did not. It looked like there was a separate envelope with all of
Okay.
the extras. It was
Okay.
thicker. Like I picked it up and it's thicker. I'm like, what is this? So I turned it and looked at the top of it and was like, oh yeah, there's like a black envelope behind it. I'm hoping all of
Oh,
it, once it's out of the envelope, will fit in the steel book, but it might not fit in there that well. I don't know.
I'll be interested to find that out. I was going back and forth when after I pre-ordered that one, there was the second site,
The
uh,
4K. Yep.
release of
Yep.
that they put out, And I was going back and forth, and I know you did a video of that, and I apologize, I can't remember if it was a video or a short or what, but you did one breaking down the different releases
Yeah,
and
there's
like,
4 different ones.
yeah, like which one should I go with, kind of a thing.
Right. I
And
ended up getting 3 out of the 4,
oh
by the
gosh,
way. Yeah.
that's what I was going to ask you.
I'm getting the Steelbook.
Yep.
I have a partnership with Umbrella, so I'm getting
You're
that
getting that big
nice
set.
box set that has the VHS tape. Like,
I'm jealous.
if I were to buy one, that would be the one that I would go
I'm
towards, just because there's
jealous.
so many great things in there. And from what I've heard, the VHS tape is literally just the Late Show.
Oh, straight through.
Yeah,
Not
it's not the movie at all.
Okay,
which is very, very cool.
that's
But then
interesting.
I'm also going to get the 4K from Second Sight as well,
Oh,
just because I want to see what it looks like. I want to see. I don't know if this movie really needs 4K, but Second
That's-
Sight does the best transfers that I've seen.
yeah,
I kind of want to see what they have.
I'll be interested to hear feedback on that, because I did the same thing where I was wondering whether I was going to cancel this and do the Second Sight, and I'm like, the same thought went through my mind. I'm like, does this one need 4K?
Right.
I'm sure it won't hurt it, but I was like, does it need it? Just the aspect ratio and the vintage kind of look.
Right.
and
Half
feel
of it
to
takes place during a taping in the 70s, so
Right.
they're throwing that aesthetic on the screen. You don't need 4K for that. The
Right.
behind the scenes stuff will look good, but
Yeah.
if half the movie isn't going to really benefit from it, I was kind of on the fence.
Yeah. No, for sure. Oh yeah, man, I'm still debating that one, but we got Prince in here saying, Jacob, would you be kind to tell Corey, how did you come up with your YouTube persona and what year did you start? Took you a long time to call me, but by my real name. Well, sometimes we don't know. It's like me too, having a different YouTube name than my real name, but I don't know if you want to hit that on that at all.
Sure.
Or...
Yeah. YouTube is kind of a long-ish answer. I started a podcast with my friends in 2017 called Super Media All Stars. We went like 75 episodes, and then just kind of lives were getting busy and we all had to separate. This is before COVID, before we all knew how to do this type of like Skype, StreamYard technology type of stuff. So over there is when I started making videos. Like, I did a lot of like vlog type videos of me going to Best Buy, looking at Steelbooks, that type of thing. I watched a lot of Durant Cinema back in the day. He's been doing it forever. This would have been like late 2017, early 2018. I probably had like 5 or 6 videos where I did that.
Yeah.
Loved doing that. I went to college for advertising. That kind of went into journalism, and that also kind of went into like me figuring out what video editing was, because I never really knew that that's something I wanted to do. But I made a lot of like news pieces, and it just kind of stuck, and I liked video editing. And there was a stretch of like 5 years where I didn't utilize that until we did the podcast and the YouTube channel, and I started again, and I just really liked how that felt.
Yeah.
So once that YouTube video or that YouTube channel was done, I started another one called Cinema Obsessed, where I just did movie reviews. That one, I probably put up like 10, 12 videos, didn't do anything ever. So I just stopped. Like, they were getting like double-digit views all the time. And I'm like, why am I putting in this much time if nobody's going to see them? Type thing. So I stopped. And then 6 months later, COVID happened. And once COVID happened, the bug was like starting to get itched again about like, I'm in my house doing nothing. I want to be creative in some way. And that's when I started TikTok. TikTok grew into something larger than what I thought it was going to be. So I just kind of told myself that I was going to kind of put more effort into this than I have prior, just to be like, hey, I'm going to give it a shot. If it doesn't go within a year, at least I can say I gave it a shot, and then I can be completely done.
Right.
And TikTok kept on growing, and then I started using that mindset on making a video a day on the TikTok side of things over to other social media platforms, because I'm like, if I'm making this video, why am I just like only showing one audience what I have to offer?
Yeah.
So it started with TikTok, and then I started showing videos every day on my Instagram, and then I made a Facebook and started doing that on Facebook, and then finally I did YouTube, the 4th one for Steelbook Obsessed.
Yeah.
And the main reason why I did that is because I was on a lot of those monthly physical media roundup things that Ken
Yeah.
was doing.
Yeah.
I was on like 3 or 4 of those, and I
Yeah.
just kind of saw the audience that was around physical media, and I had a blast on his channel. Anytime I popped on, it was great. And yeah, I just saw like there's a really cool because I went live on TikTok all the time, but you just get randoms all the time. You don't get a lot of like the same people
Return.
hopping back on.
Yeah.
And I like that aspect of it, YouTube. So I'm like, okay, let's give this a shot. So now I'm making everyday content for those 4 platforms, and I'm making exclusive videos for YouTube, the long form stuff that I've always liked to make, and starting to slowly but surely grow an audience. I think I'm at like 8,500, and I've really only been doing exclusive videos for like a year-ish. So
Yeah. Well, you're only about 8.2 thousand above me at this point. but no, just joking around with that. But no, it's no, it's interesting to hear that, you know, like where you started and what you start going into. But I
mhm.
think a common thing I'm hearing from people with you know, doing any type of content creation, whatever you want to call it, you know, whether you like that name or not for it, is you know, just things that you, if you make something, if you film something, you edit it, you think it through and put it on one platform, like how can you extend that onto other platforms and get like
Yeah.
more, a little more mileage out of what that the work that you put into. Just like you said, when you were doing some things and you're only getting like double digit views on it,
Mhm.
and you're like, wow, I put this much work into, you're looking at your returns, your
Right.
work and your returns. And so if you put a lot of work in something, and like, and you do that on TikTok, is like, how can I make that go a little bit farther? And so is that
Mhm.
kind of the thought too? It's like, well,
Well,
how can
and
I translate that to Instagram or YouTube or
sure.
whatever?
One thing I love about YouTube is that like it feels more forever. It feels like if you make a
Yeah.
video, it can still get seen and discovered years after you made it, as opposed to any other platform, social media wise, to where like it's there and you catch it within
And
like a
gone.
week window, maybe,
Yeah.
and then it just poofs gone forever.
Yeah.
So I like YouTube as like an archival type of device for the videos that I make, at least, because I don't know how long TikTok's going to be around. They're always in this legal battle with the U.S. and China, so
Yeah.
who the heck knows? That was another thing that kind of lit a fire under my butt. Like, okay, let's start growing audiences elsewhere, because you just never know for sure.
Well, it's just like investing. You don't want to, they always have the saying of don't put all your eggs in one basket. You know,
Right.
if you can spread it out, if something tragic happened to one of them, you would have a different avenue that you could still be
And
running on. But
and I find I am very like data driven. I like to look at analytics a
yeah,
lot.
yeah,
So it's kind of interesting to see like what type of video does well
yeah,
on one platform and completely crashes and burns on another. And I like I said, I post everything I make over to everything.
yeah,
If it's over a minute, it'll count as an actual video on my YouTube page.
sure,
But if it's less than that, it goes into a YouTube Shorts.
yeah, yep,
Except for when like I do wet stuff on TikTok. Like I just like me is half a screen and another video that somebody made is half a screen, and I'm just doing commentary on it more or less.
yeah,
I started doing that with like illustrations of like what if anger took over Riley's body and Inside Out, like that type of thing, or
yeah,
like what if in Cloudy and the Chance of Meatballs it rained down people, like that type of stuff. I started doing those videos, and those are doing extremely well on YouTube, which I was not expecting at all. So now I've kind of focused on doing one of those videos a week, just so the people that do want to see those type of videos can find it on my YouTube page. Like the last 2 videos I talked to you about, over 100,000 views on both of them
oh yeah,
on
nice,
YouTube, and
yep,
everywhere else they get like thousands.
yeah,
So it's just kind of seeing like what does well, and if it does well here, you gotta at least make a video to please some an audience on one platform, and you just kind of gotta find a healthy balance for sure to kind of ping pong back from.
yeah. But so you say you love that data, you like dig it into, like
Yeah.
see what works here and not there, or vice versa. But do you still get things where you're just like maybe something pops off and goes really well, or
Mhm.
vice versa, that you're just like you just throw your hands up in the air and you're just like, why? Like,
Well,
not that you're upset, but just like, why did that take
there
off there
there are
or
some
something?
videos that have literally sat in my draft file for months,
Yeah.
and I get to a point to where like I haven't made a new video in so long, and I always post a video every day that like I get desperate and I post one that I don't think is going to do well. And I would say half the time that's happened, those videos usually do better than the ones that take a lot of time editing. It kind of makes me upset, but it's like at least it's still
It's
people are watching,
something.
enjoying it. So
Yep.
you just never know. That's the thing about this that always keeps me coming back is that it doesn't matter how much time you put into it, doesn't matter how slick it looks, as long as you have something that grabs somebody else's attention,
It connects.
keep on going for it. And I always, I just always find that part fascinating about this.
I've heard that from so many different people where they're like, okay, I was so proud of this one video. I put so much work into it, so much research. I like edited it like crazy, put so many hours into this thing, and it just goes flat.
Right.
And then I do a random, like very rough, no edit, like throw it out there and it takes off. And you're just like, it's just kind of it's a finicky thing where if it just finds somebody it connects with and it keeps on going from that point.
Yep.
But yeah, I always find that interesting too, but, I don't know. I don't have an answer for it.
Nobody has an answer. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Like it's always, you're always tinkering. You're always being like, okay, is this going to perform here? Let's kind of test it and see. If it doesn't, start from scratch, start something new. If something does start going off, I wouldn't feed it to death. I feel like that is not the way to go, but like at least keep the fire lit a little bit. Like put a new video out in that series every now and again. Like I'm going to start a new series here tomorrow. I'm hoping that I'm able to kind of film and edit the rest of the video tonight once we're done here. Mm-hmm. But I'm doing like a physical media pen pals type of thing to where like I have a lot of movies that just kind of sit in a corner that are just kind of extras for me that I know I'm not going to have time to watch at all.
Right.
And I think other collectors have that problem too. So I kind of want to do like a movie trade system, but also go like a step above that and write a personal note to people and kind of be like the pen pal thing and make it more personalized, I guess. And I'm trying to make that video a little bit more polished than I do other videos. So we'll just see how it goes. You never know.
That sounds very interesting. I'll be watching for that for sure.
Yeah, I might have you as one of the pen pals if you're interested.
Hey, I'm game. There's so many people like yourself that are so fun to hang out with and talk movies, and so any time we get that interaction, I'll be up for whatever. But don't feel obligated.
Oh no, never, no. I want to get as many people involved in that as possible, just because it's another like community building thing. And I think along with like my podcast, I just want to get people that are in other sectors. Like I want to get TikTok people to talk with YouTube people and Instagram people with Facebook people. Like we all love the same thing and we all have a hobby that connects us all. So why not? I'm trying to be like a connecting thread in between different social media platforms too.
Yeah. My little interaction in, taking part in all of this, I found that it's interesting where some people it's difficult to get them to cross over to different platforms. Yeah. Like they got the one, and I'm not saying it's good or bad, but they have the one that they like to follow. And so I think that's a great idea because you spread it across that. But yeah, I've seen some where it takes a little bit to get somebody to branch out, maybe sometimes to go from one platform to another.
It also takes a lot of work and you have to be more organized than what you might are right now, I guess. Like it took me, I thought it was going to be so much of a time sink just to go from strictly TikTok to TikTok and Instagram. Right. But once you get into a rapport down, you're like, oh, this only takes an extra 2 minutes. Then I'll try to see, okay, what can I do to kind of like add on to this? Yeah. So it's just always like finding that next thing for me. And right now I kind of like where I'm at. I'm not really chasing anything anymore. I think I have enough on my plate and I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm just trying to grow what I have now.
No, that's nice. I got a question for that, but if you don't mind me putting a pin in it for just a second, I'm going to run through some of the chat.
Yeah, go for it.
Just to catch up there real quick.
Yeah.
Dee was saying, oh, thank you so much, Corey. Really appreciate that. Oh, no, for sure. You and Chilo are great. I love hanging out and seeing your live streams. Jeff was in here saying good evening.
How's it going?
Jay. Thanks for jumping in here. Saying hi to each other. I'm going to jump through. Adrian James, how are we doing?
Hello.
Hello there, Corey and Jake. Okay, I'm going to skip some, so don't take offense, but I'm just going through some of these real quick just to keep track on time. And Laren is in here saying, hell yes, grow it for the winter, Wilk.
Get that beard down.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Good evening, Wilk and Jake.
Yes, sir.
He's been a big supporter for that, for sure. I hate shaving, so there's some days when I get on these where I have a little more scruff than others, and he's just like, Corey, do it, go. Do you say my boys started giving me my gray hair? Yep.
Preach. Yep, they do that. Kids are good at doing that.
I have a boy and a girl that gave me those gray hairs.
Mm-hmm.
They're older than yours, though, D. So I have more gray hairs.
Mm.
Van Gool, how we doing? Saying hello, everyone. Saying hi to everybody. I'm going to run through these really quick here. Larry saying, I got my first gray beard hair last month.
Welcome to the club, bud.
Yep. You're welcome. Chilo's in here. What's up, man? Saying first gray hair, LOL, when you found out a girl was coming.
True story. Yep. One of those stories I'll never forget either.
No, that's funny. All right. Gonna run through. Sorry. I'm trying to do a good job running through with these. Dave was saying the Detroit Lions are playing right now. I'm not a big football fan. I'm more a baseball fan and hockey. Well, there you go. Yeah, we were just talking about that a little bit ago.
Yeah, right now the game is the Bills and the Dolphins, and the Bills are destroying the Dolphins.
Okay.
Which I picked the other way around. So, yay. Already down. Yep.
Hopefully you don't have too much riding on it, but
no, I'm just in like a weekly work pool.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
I was in first place after last week. After this pick, I'm not off to a good start for this week, but we'll see.
Yep. Jeff was saying corporations could save just $1 and that job is replaced by AI. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
It's unfortunate.
Yep.
But not false.
Yep. All right. Like I said, if I skip anybody's, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to go through here quick. Mika was saying they have some great sets out for Late Night with the Devil. One of our favorite films this year picked up the Umbrella edition and Second Sight one. Oh, see?
Anybody shopping on Umbrella, use the discount code SteelBook15. Save yourself 15%, please. Please. That's like, I fought for that code for so long and I finally got it. And I just want to make sure that it gets put to good use. I don't get anything out of it. I just want people to save. That'll pretty much like save you Australian shipping.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It'll just be what it costs.
Yeah. So the set's still available? I haven't looked out at it.
That set is sold out. That set sold out a long time ago. That set sold out very quickly. But they have a lot of other good sets out there. Like I've been in partnership with Umbrella for 2 years now. Like I've loved their stuff for a long time. And I'm very glad that starting with like the Super Mario Brothers set this year, like in January, that's when they really started getting the ball rolling in the States.
Yeah.
And I feel like this Late Night one is a good one. I feel like the Full Moon box set they have coming out next month is another good one that kind of reminds me of like the Arrow Video box set of like all the Empire films.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I just see them making a lot of good strides forward. And the Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, the 1 and 2 box set, like slowly but surely they're making more of a footprint in the States. And I, as a lover of this brand for a long time, it's just nice to see it's finally happening.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, heck, I don't know too many people that will be upset getting 15% off of.
I hope not. I hope not.
So very cool. I'll have to look at what they got coming out here. Hey, Mark, how's it going? Saying, hey, everyone, hope everyone is doing well. We are. I think we are. Saying hi to Mark. All right. I'm going to run through these real quick. Like I said, if I skip anybody's, I apologize. If you have a question and I miss it, just throw it in again. I'm just trying to get caught up on the chat here real quick. Make sure I don't miss anybody. At least saying like, for Steve here, Excelsior Movie Reviews, jumping in saying hi, everybody.
You're a lot better at going through comments than I am. I feel
for real?
I feel like I just kind of lead to the side, unless it's just like me and them. Like if I'm interviewing somebody else, I feel like, oh God, I forgot to like show anybody's comment. So I usually do it like the very end.
I'm constantly, it's a struggle for me, the balance between the two of them. So I'm working at it, but so I appreciate the compliment, but I feel like I'm still figuring out the good balance between everything. But,
sure.
Jeff was saying that YouTube pop is hard to figure out. Yeah,
it's very bizarre. It's very bizarre. And like the illustration duets that I do are by far my highest viewed videos. Like before that, it was like Laserdisc content, and I don't make a lot of Laserdisc content, so
yeah,
I did not follow that trend. But I always thought like maybe I should. It's hard for me to think of making content that's just Laserdisc focused, I guess.
Yeah.
I haven't cracked that egg just yet.
Yep. Oh, that's funny. Going through here. Hey Gizmo, how's it going? You are trying to give me a hard time there. I won't read through your whole comment, but I appreciate you being in here so much, for sure. Saying Holland is saying hi to Gizmo. I appreciate you saying that you think I'm doing a good job with it, because I always feel like I stumble through this really badly. But Dave was saying, I wanted to know if Jake has checked out my unboxing video for Wind River 4K.
I don't think I have yet, man. I'm in a group thread with Collector Movie Man, and so sometimes I just don't get a lot of time. Like this week has been very busy at work. We're a man down, so it's just kind of chugging along on survival mode. And I don't know if you can hear, but I am like fighting a cold a little bit as well. So
I know, and I appreciate you still, jumping in on the live stream. I know I had that a couple weeks ago, and it is so annoying, and it wears you out.
Yeah, if you see me like go away and just do the logo, and you don't hear me for a little bit, I'm just blowing my schnoz. Everything is good.
You're still there. Still there.
Yep.
Prince always likes asking, what's your serotonin boost movie besides Eddie the Eagle?
Eddie the Eagle is always my go-to, because that one just makes me feel good anytime I watch it. But I would probably say Heavyweights is another one to where like I can just pop that sucker in and get into a better mood for sure. It's just kind of like that's one of my, I don't even know if it's a guilty pleasure, because it is just a good movie,
right?
But it's one that like not a lot of people talk about, and it's just a great family flick from the 90s.
So I can say you can still say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's always those movies, and sometimes one night there's a movie that could put me in a good mood that's different than the next night. It's it can change on your mood. So
absolutely,
for sure. Mark was saying, I've had gray hair since my late 20s. Yeah, it happens, man. It happens. I'm way past my 20s, so I got plenty of gray hairs. So, so that being said, I know we were talking about, making content for all the different platforms that you're going on.
Yeah.
Is there, I know with everything, even if it's something you enjoy, it can, it can wear on you a little bit. It can take a lot of time. Yeah. So how do you find a good balance between, home life, family life, sanity, and in creating the content? Do you have like a method that you kind of got in place to help balance those things out?
I would say at least 2 days a week, I make the majority of it, and I kind of stack, like I just stay up until like midnight making a lot of content when the girls are asleep. Like I don't want it to affect their lives as much as I can possibly help it. Like sometimes we're out and about, and then I start filming something and they are okay with that. They kind of like when I do that and they want to be a part of it, but I don't want it to overtake anything. And I'm always very conscious of that. Like I don't want to just like be the parent that's just always on my phone worried about something else other than like what's actually happening in front of me. Like I don't want that to happen at all. So I try to focus it when people are asleep, and that's when I can kind of like focus my entire being into making stuff.
Yeah. And I know a lot of these questions, these are ones I've probably talked to you about before, but it's kind of fun to, with the group talk about it.
Absolutely.
And that's something I always appreciated how you approached it. I didn't get into this until my kids were much older.
Sure.
So like past the stages of like worrying about missing out on moments. And so I always appreciated your take on that and how you're like, because I think I've seen it before, and I appreciate this too. Like when you're talking about live streams, it's like, well, I can do it at, like this time because my kids are asleep, and then it's after they go to sleep kind of a thing. And I appreciate that so much that you're taking that standpoint with it, with, that's my time when I can have something. And believe me, when my kids are older and pretty much out of the house, and it goes by so fast that it's great to YouTube or some social media format will always be there.
Yeah.
And your kids will only be that age for that.
Correct. God, I saw somebody's quote today that I'm like, that's very accurate. Like the weeks go by slow, but the years go by fast.
Yes, correct.
That's crazy. But yeah, like my kids are 6 and 8 right now, and I feel like I get like random memory shots from either Snapchat or like things that just popped up when I take a photo, and
Yeah,
it's just like, dang, that's already been 6 years ago, huh?
I
That's
know.
insane.
I still get that. My dad has this big thing where he has this. I don't know what app it's on, but he gets this like time hop thing where a picture comes up. It's like, hey, this is 6 years ago or 10 years
Yeah.
ago,
Hmm.
and he's got a lot of our kids, and he'll send it to me and be like, oh, hey, this was 6 years ago today or 10 years ago today, and I sit there, I'm like, I cannot believe that's been a decade ago, and
Correct.
look how different they look at this point. So,
Yeah.
um, no, I was just curious because I know it's always a delicate balance. Even if you don't make content, if you just love movies and want to watch movies, sometimes that's a balancing act too of spending time with family and getting time in to watch movies.
Movies will always be there. Like that's always
Yeah,
been my thing.
exactly.
Like
Yeah.
you can always find time to watch anything.
Yep.
You don't always have the time that's in front of you with the people that are there. So
Yeah,
focus on that while you can, because it's going to go way quicker than you think.
I agree with that
Hmm.
completely, and I've always appreciated how you took that for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I know we kind of talked about this a little bit, but what got you? So I know you loved movies and collecting for a long
Hmm.
time, and like before you were doing content creation, and I apologize if you don't like that term. I know sometimes people don't like
Oh yeah,
YouTuber
it's
or
fine.
content
Yeah.
or whatever,
Hmm.
but making social media content.
Yeah.
What got you? What gave you the itch? What made you want to do that and start putting something out there?
Well, I started Instagram when I started the podcast, and the main reason why I started my Instagram account, Steelbook Obsessed, is as just like a journal entry into every single steelbook I owned. Like that's
Right.
how it started. That's why the name started. I would post a steelbook picture a day, like number one is the first one I ever bought, and just kept on going from there. I have not stuck with that. Like that's something that's kind of flown off the radar. Like I think I got to like number 500, and after that, I'm like, okay, let's do something a little different. And again, just like
That's a good
everything,
number. That's a good
yeah.
number to move on from something.
I count last time I counted how many steelbooks I had was for Bob's Physical Media Hall of Fame live
Yeah.
stream.
Yeah.
That number has doubled, Corey. I have over
Oh
1,000
gosh.
steelbooks now, and that stream was close to a year ago now. I don't even want to know how many I have. Like at this point, I'm just like, okay, they're here. I don't need to count how many I have. I have a lot.
A lot. A
Let's go on
lot.
to something else.
A lot.
Yeah.
Next question.
Correct. Yep.
Well, not to dwell on that, but do you remember, not necessarily your first one, but do you remember a time where the Steelbook, something came out where you're like, this is it. This is what I want to collect.
I distinctly remember my first steelbook for sure.
Okay.
It was
Well,
God, this movie came out Christmas 2012, so the movie probably came out April, May 2013. My family, my wife and I, and then her sister and her husband, we always a while ago we used to see a movie in theaters, just the four of us. That year was Django Unchained. Loved
okay.
that movie so much. I'm a big Quentin Tarantino guy. That's still
Yeah.
my favorite Tarantino movie. So I knew I wanted to add it to the collection. It wasn't until I went to Target and I was just looking at all the movies they had that I noticed that this was
You
on the
got it
shelf.
right there. You
Yeah.
got it right there.
And I love how steelbooks, this is the main reason why I fell in love with steelbooks, is just the artwork. Like this artwork
Yeah.
wasn't anywhere else. It was
Right.
just on this steelbook. I love simplicity in my steelbooks. I think
Yeah.
sometimes simple is striking, and this is a very striking image to me.
Yeah.
So this just kind of called out to me, and I have been collecting them ever since 2013. So it's been 11 years now.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you're a veteran at the
Yeah.
collecting of those, but
And I think I started at a good time too. I want to say steelbooks have been around since like 2005, 2006. Like I have a good chunk of DVD steelbooks. I have some video game steelbooks, but it wasn't until like they really hit Blu-rays when like they really went crazy. Like Target had some exclusives, Best Buy had some exclusives, and the exclusives that were coming out, they wanted to like make sure that they kind of stood out from the pack. Like
sure.
I still remember collecting all those Marvel Best Buy steelbooks that came out back in the day, and they
Yeah.
all looked awesome. And I'm like, my goal is to collect every single one of these when they come out, just so I can have them and just so I don't have to hunt after them on eBay prices later.
Well, and even if they do similar artwork on them, it seems like with the Steelbook, it just does a little something different to the presentation of it.
Yeah,
Whether it's a matte finish or glossy or spot
right.
glass, a mix of the things. It seems like they can do a little something extra with it.
Let's see if I can move this around a little bit. I like the magnetic aesthetic to it.
I love
Like
that.
I have a nice little like Edgar Wright shrine, like
I
just a
love that.
strip in between my door and the collection. You can just do a lot more things with steelbooks than you can just your average movie. I've been that's my enjoyment for steelbooks has never waned. I still love them as much as I did when I first found out what they were, and yeah, I still like collecting them.
I love that you do some interesting things to display them and enjoy them. Because weren't
Yeah,
you also doing something with a spooky season wall too
yeah.
that you're
God,
posting
about
some things on? Or
4 years ago, my
yeah,
wife for Father's Day kind of surprised me with just she put up a whole bunch of those magnets. I'm like, what are those? And they're like, oh, you can put your steel books up on those. I'm like, okay, let's try this out. So like I would say I switch them out every 3 months or so. Like I do a spooky season, I do holiday related, I do a summer box office, and then I usually do like winter vibes, like in between like the summer and the holiday thing. But sometimes that changes too, depending on what kind of movie comes out.
that's a great way to I don't know, enjoy the artwork that's on them. And I've tried to think of ways to incorporate that too on some walls that I have in here, because I still love having them no matter what. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of cool that, like you said, you kind of do that rotation and you can bring some different ones out and
correct.
you can have them there and it's artwork on your wall. It's like getting a movie poster up,
Yep.
but you have multiple steel books of movies.
And I like the way the collage look of like it can hold 25 steel books. So just
Yeah.
to kind of see all those up there at once looks very cool. I've always had that strip of Edgar Wright. I've thought about like switching that up and like maybe do like a Carpenter strip, but Edgar Wright has stayed for a while. I kind of like the way that looks too. I thought about putting them up elsewhere. I just don't know if I'm going to do that just yet. I feel like what I have now is great. I don't want
Yeah.
to go overboard
Yeah.
with at least my movies in the basement. Like
Yeah.
right now, they take over this wall behind me and like this wall to the side where I just showed the Edgar Wright things.
Yeah.
Everything else, like my kids can still do and not feel like they're in a museum and can't damage anything. And
Don't touch anything.
I don't want to get to that part just yet because I've already taken a room behind this door to
Yeah.
put more like my boutique wall and like my VHS tapes and stuff. Like physical media, I think has already took up enough of the space in my house. So
Yeah.
now I'm at the point to where like I'm not going to buy in bulk on a lot of things. I'm
Yeah.
going to just focus on what I really actually want and will
Yeah.
appreciate more rather than just like kind of filling up the walls because I
Right.
don't need to
Right.
do that anymore.
Right. It's not just, oh, that's on sale, I need to get that whether I like the movie or not, or
Right.
whatever.
I mean, sometimes I still see myself doing that.
There's
Like
the
when I go
itch.
to Goodwill, I'm like, oh, that movie's only $2 and I don't have it. Well, come on.
How can I
Let's
pass
go.
the $2 up?
So and those videos also just do solid for me too. So it's just like
Sure.
I have a double-edged sword. I'm like, okay, there's movies that I don't have that I kind of want, and I can make content for it. You want it. So
Kind of.
yeah.
You find
I still like it, but I know I need to like pump the brakes. I pumped the brakes a lot since I started collecting, but I feel like I still need to do it a little bit more too.
So, oh man, I got a couple questions running through my mind right
Yeah.
now. So, like, first, do you find I don't know, do you find it a struggle when you find, I've heard other people saying, like it's crazy when you have some videos where it's like, hey, look at all these I bought, and you have a stack and it does really well, over something that you're just like focused and doing like a deep dive on a director or something like that. Do you find a struggle with that, where quantity is pulling some numbers and just with or not?
Well, no, right now the majority of my content I think is at least talking about new releases, just because
Okay.
I'm in the spot to where a lot of companies send me stuff to kind of hype up releases, so I feel obligated to do that, and it's already here, so it's just like easy. I don't have to think about certain things that I need to make content wise. It's just like, okay, every Friday I'm doing a new release roundup because I know I'm going to have at least some movies to do that.
Right.
when it comes to the other things, that's like the other videos that I actually have to edit and stuff, I do still like the vlog pickup type videos.
Hmm.
I've always liked those. They still hold a soft spot in my heart. I still watch Durant's videos every week just because I love that type of
He's
stuff. So
entertaining.
I,
Yeah.
my goal is to make at least 2 of those a month myself, just so I can kind of garner an audience, because those do solid numbers for me too, and I enjoy making them. So again, in a nice 1-2 punch there. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out of like what else I can do that makes people want to watch stuff. Like
Yeah.
the out of theater reviews that I don't do well.
Hmm.
The physical media release reviews do, but I just don't have enough time to review every single thing that I would want to. Because
Right.
when I review stuff, I dig into the special features. Like I dig into as much as I possibly can about the release before I can give you my opinion on the review. Like I showing it off is one thing, reviewing it is a totally another beast that takes hours of time, and
Right.
sometimes I don't have that when I'm juggling everything else. So I don't know if that answered your question or
No,
not.
it does. No, it does. But like hitting on some things there from how, yeah, you definitely answered that. But going into that, you're juggling a couple different things there. Some are your rough cut out and about videos,
Yeah.
and then some are your at home edited videos. And not saying you don't care for one or the other, but are you leaning towards one where you're like, oh, I have a little more fun with that?
I think the vlog ones, I always like just shopping for stuff, period, when
Yeah.
it comes to movies.
Yeah.
So those I don't think I will ever stop making, just because I like
Yeah.
doing it and I like editing it and I like seeing people's reactions to what I find out there. Like I still find that amusing.
Yeah.
I For right now, for me, the struggle is like, okay, what else can I do on a regular basis with the stuff that I have around me
Sure.
to make something worth it? Like I just kind of showcased off the stack over here of movies that I still have to put away. You can kind of
Yeah.
see in the corner there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to be a lot bigger. Like I just put up a video 2 weeks ago about me putting away 100 movies, and
Oh,
that seemed to do well. Like
yep.
that was like a 50-minute video, and a lot of the comments that I heard is just like, "Oh, this is just like ASMR. This is a good thing to fall asleep to," which is not a bad thing for me, because
No.
I do that with other YouTube content. Like the my go-to of like falling asleep within 10 minutes is putting on it's called Internet Tonight from YouTube. It's like a news
Oh, I don't know that.
feed, except it like talks about news that I care about. So I listen to it a little bit, but I'm not afraid to fall asleep to it either. I find their voices very soothing. And if I can do that for other people, like it kind of opened up my brain a little bit, like, okay, maybe people do like the longer form stuff, and maybe I can just do something more akin to easy listening collection videos, which I never really thought about doing until I did it. It
Yeah.
takes a long time to edit. Like editing a 50-minute video is not easy, but
Oh, sure.
I like that people liked that, and it, from what I heard, it made that video stand out from some other things that have happened in the physical media realm on YouTube. So
Yeah. No, and I wouldn't take that badly either, because I know a lot of people that say that about a lot of big podcasts,
yeah,
that they put that on and that's their wind down time at night. They
yeah.
listen to that and maybe they will end up falling asleep at some point with it, but they put it on. It's a long format and they can just listen to it. And
Hmm.
you definitely have the radio voice, man. You
Yeah,
got the,
my
yeah.
I've heard that from quite a few people for sure. I used to host a radio show back in college.
Oh, sure.
I
Pro.
did. Yeah, that was fun. My goal, like I always have like a checklist of things
Yeah.
that I want to accomplish. One that I've had since I was 5 years old is be a voice of a cartoon character, and I just don't
Oh,
know
that'd be
how
awesome.
to break into that. And I just have to do it once, but I want to do that. That's why I'm also I'm glad that like the what if series with the animated stuff is kind of catching on, because I do a
Yeah.
couple of voices in that as well.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll catch on to something, and I'll get another opportunity to do something somewhere else too.
Oh, that'd be
Um,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
you never know, man. You never know. You never know
Yeah.
who's watching, which is still shocks me to this day.
Oh, for sure. I still get that too. As small as my channel is, I still get shocked with people that jump in. I not in a bad way. I'm just very
No,
appreciate them, doing
whenever,
that.
yeah,
But
the main reason why I still use Instagram as much as I do is because I feel like that's where a lot of people within the industry kind of they utilize that platform
okay.
over a lot of other ones.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of people that have DM'd me on Instagram just from the industry saying either, hey, I'm watching your stuff, I'm really liking it, or they want to hear my thoughts on things because I talk about it every day.
That's cool.
You just never, you never know who's watching, and you never know where they're watching either. So I throw things around everywhere and see what sticks and see what people watch for sure.
Yeah. I no, it's interesting. That's the thing with the formats of it's interesting that there's certain industries or age groups that drift towards one or the other, and there are some splits between those. And we were talking earlier about, you were talking about trying to merge some of those audiences, and
Yeah.
I think sometimes you have some difficulties just because some just naturally gravitate towards one or the other.
And I don't think I'm ever going to force people to go to a platform that they've never used before. Like, I'm not going to make them do that.
Right.
But I'm hoping that me maybe showing somebody else from another platform will grow that audience for the person that I'm trying to kind of expand, I guess.
Yeah.
If I like their content and I like what they're doing on X, I hope that you at least try to see if they have anything on the platforms that you're looking at.
Yeah.
Kind of.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to run through the chat just real quick again.
Yeah.
Just to catch up just a little bit. But Jeff was saying being a family man first is why I don't go crazy on social media as I'd like. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a good reason for sure.
Yeah. Do the balance. Do the balance.
It's hard to do, man. I try not to do it a lot at home when the kids are awake. I either do it when I'm at work, when I'm at my lunch break, or when the kids are asleep. So,
yep. Absolutely. Time is the hardest thing to balance. It's the hardest currency to earn. Yeah, absolutely. It's the thing that is priceless. There's so many people that I read stories about that are, financial people that they are pretty frivolous with their money, but they're well off. But they said, some of the things that they're willing to be spendy on are things that save them time, because they said that's the only thing they can't get back.
The older I get, the more valuable it is.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
There was an article I was reading, not to go way into this, but Warren Buffett, insurance, financial tycoon. He's very, very rich man, very frivolous. He's smart with his money. He's not driving a Lamborghini around, I think the whole story is he's got a Buick, it's probably a very nice Buick, but, and nothing against that, but it's just, he does not go crazy with it. But he said some of the things that he splurges on is private jets, because he can dictate what time it's going to leave, no layovers, and it saves him time. And he's like, I don't have, what price can you put on more time of your life that you can get back to do other things,
Correct.
So I respect that. I mean, yeah, for sure. I'm going to run through here real quick here. Let's see who else has been here. Dee was saying, I heard Best Buy is going to stop selling movies. Haven't been in a while, but do not know if that's true. Yeah, it is true.
They haven't sold all year.
Yep.
Haven't been in one since. Or I went to a Best Buy in like April because I had some like a $10 credit or something. I'm like, maybe I'll buy a video game or something. And where all the movies were, they just kind of filled the space with washers and dryers. It's just like, there's no reason for me to step into that store ever again, because there's nothing I really want.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I heard too, was they're like, oh, they pulled out all those rows of movies and they're going to put in like, treadmills and like different things in there. And I'm like, well, maybe that'd be better for me, but I really like those movies in there. I used to just go and walk around and just look at them, and sometimes I'd buy, sometimes I wouldn't, or maybe it would be one, or maybe it'd be a few, but I had fun kind of doing that window shopping.
I would go in there every Tuesday for sure, whether I knew I was going to get something or not. I would still go. It was like tradition. It was habit. I would go in when they opened. I just got into a habit because of my job kind of allowed me to do that.
Yeah.
And that's when I could get my hands on Steelbooks, because I would not buy anything online. I would always buy it in store because I wanted to make sure that like the Steelbook I got didn't have any damage. I wanted to get like the best one possible. So if I got here during opening and I could either look at all the ones they have on the shelf, or if they haven't put them up yet, I can ask somebody, and then really they just like dig through the box and see which one's the best.
Yeah.
Miss those days.
And it's different too when you see it out in front of you. Earlier this year, I was out and got to meet up with some other YouTubers, and I got to go to Orbit DVD out in Asheville, North Carolina.
Nice.
And you can order everything online from them, and they're great at the shipping, fast. They pack it well, so there's nothing wrong there. But it was kind of crazy to be in the store, and it's not a huge store, but when you have all those box sets just lined up, and you're just sitting there looking at them, and you can like hold them in your hand, it's a different feeling, I think, to be able to do that.
That's another reason why, like, whenever I get a Steelbook in to show, I make sure that I open it and showcase off everything, just because even when you look at pictures online from when you're ordering them on Walmart or Amazon, sometimes you don't get like the full actual look at the product that you're going to go buy.
Right.
And that drives me nuts with this virtual space that we're in, just in online retail. It's just like, I don't really know what I'm buying. So I'm hoping that when I do actually buy something, I like what I buy.
Right. And not that I wouldn't do it if it did have a slip or didn't have a slip, but there's like so many times where you'll see some things like that. I'm like, is that a slip on that? Or is it not a slip? Or is it a Steelbook? Or, when you have questions of what you're buying for that price, it's kind of nice to just have those answers, up front before you put the money down, as expensive as they're getting. So I'm going to run through the chat a little bit again, but I would but before I do that though, like tying into that, I was going to ask you about trends, things that we're seeing going on right now. And with you collecting so many Steelbooks, I know there's been a lot of people that said, we're now kind of looking back at that heyday of Best Buy, like Lionsgate Steelbooks, putting out some different things, with the slip on it, or, pushing it a little bit at $20, $22 price range. And then now, not that they always sell for the price, but you see MSRP kind of like price going out there of like $30 to $40 range, almost.
Pushing 40 now, like over 40 at some point.
So I didn't want to exaggerate, but I'd seen some pushing up there.
That's the sad part. It's not exaggerating. That's just like what commonplace is on online retail. And
so I'm just curious your thoughts, that and the trend, and if market will pull it back down to earth a little bit or not.
I don't see the market correcting itself anytime soon on this, just because the market is so niche.
Yeah.
Like I see that only becoming more and more of a niche thing, especially when it gets pulled out of retail. Once that rabbit gets pulled out of its hat, there's no reason for the online places to go down in price.
Yeah.
There's really not, because there's no overhead. I mean, I guess there is overhead carrying it in a warehouse, but it's different as opposed to like carrying it out in retail. On retail, you can see the price fluctuate because they only have X amount of space in the retail store. Yeah. Once it's in a warehouse, it's a lot easier for them to move it in different kind of corners of the warehouse. I don't like where the trajectory is going, and I feel like it's only going to get worse. And I feel like this hobby is going to be more and more expensive, and they're just going to bleed us dry until there's nothing left on the bone.
Yeah.
And I don't like that, but I it's kind of hard for me not to look at it that way.
So you kind of feel like it's going to price out some of the smaller collectors. There's always going to be people that have money to pay whatever it costs.
Correct.
And so there's always going to be somebody that will buy. You could be like, it's $100.
When it's in store, they're going for your average everyday consumer. When it's online, it's going to become more and more niche, and it's going to become more of a collectible factor as opposed to your everyday person. Because the thing that really makes me nervous is when the new next gen consoles come out. I'm assuming they're not going to have a disk drive. I'm assuming they are just going to be digital. And once that cycle starts, it's like that's a lot of people's intro into going into physical media. Like the PS2 was a lot of people's intros into the DVDs, PS3, PS4, Blu-rays, PS5, 4K. Now with the PS5 Pro that's coming out, I want to say is what it is. You have to pay an extra $80 just to add on a disk drive.
Yep.
Like that doesn't come on it. And I'm assuming that's not going to be like readily available. So the trend has already started on that front. And I'm just nervous 10 years from now, what we're going to be paying for a 4K disc.
Yeah, no, that's, it's interesting you bring that up, but that's that's something that I think helped out the market, and whether people agree with me or not. But when you have those gaming consoles, and there's going to be the people that would buy that, whether it would play a movie or not, they want to play the games.
Yeah.
But some that were like, oh, I can play a DVD in this, or oh,
Right.
this one I can play a Blu-ray
You
in it.
gave them the option to play
Yep,
something,
yep. Or I can
even
play
if
a
they didn't.
4K.
Yeah. Yes. The PS5 is a lot of people's 4K players.
Yeah. I have one TV that I have a PS5 hooked up to, and I'll use that to watch the 4Ks on it. And I know some people will poo-poo on it, but it gave an option to a group of people to be like, oh, well, maybe I'll check out what this 4K looks like through my PS5 on
Correct.
my OLED, or
Or
whatever.
dude, I really love Fight Club, and I want to make sure
Right.
that I own Fight Club or Scarface or like
Yeah.
any or The Dark Knight, like any popular movie that a lot of people universally love. It might be like one of 5 movies that they own, and they just want to make sure that they have that and they're able to watch it at any time, because
Right.
streaming services, you never know where these movies are going to go. There's a certain amount of movies that I still think if you have a way to play them, people will buy those movies that they want to keep.
Sure.
You don't have to be like me.
Sure.
You don't have to be like you. You don't have to have
Yeah.
thousands of movies. Sometimes it's just, hey, I love this movie. I want to keep this movie. I have a video game system that plays it. So why not own the movie as well?
Yeah. Well, that's the crazy thing. You're looking at our desktop computers or our laptops that we have in our home or at work. Like how many had DVD and Blu-ray drives, and now there's no
Nothing.
drives in them.
Correct.
And
Yep.
so I think that does limit a little bit where some of those people that just incidentally they wanted to play some great video games on the new console. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, it's got a Blu-ray or 4K player on there too. I'm like, I'll check the
Right.
movie out, and maybe they buy some movies, but it might just start shrinking that market a little bit.
I think it's. I mean, the market's already shrinking as is.
Right,
but
right.
Once a different avenue is gone from the conversation, it's only going to keep on shrinking, and we don't need that.
Yeah.
We really don't. It's already as small as it is.
Well, I know there's always the debate about streaming and physical media, and I know
Mhm.
I do a balance of those because
I
I
do too.
can't buy everything I want, and
Right.
and I know bandwidth, internet speeds have gotten better and better and better, and since the time early days of Netflix when they started rolling out
Yep.
streaming, and I started using that, it's progressed a lot. But do you ever see a time where the bandwidth, the internet speed is readily available for people that would compete with a 4K disc, a physical disc on?
Eventually,
Eventually.
yes.
Just not there
but
yet,
it might
but-
not be for everybody.
Right.
Like, I think fiber, once that's super readily available, that will be a huge bump up for everyone, and the differences between streaming and 4K will become lesser and lesser. Like right now, I don't have fiber. I've been told I'm going to get it like November, December in my area.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested myself just to look at, like, I have like 300 meg speed internet right now. Like, I don't think what I'm doing right now, live streaming, is buffering that bad.
Yeah.
But sometimes I go pop a video, or I guess I don't pop it in. I press play on a video on Peacock or Paramount Plus, and just the buffering looks terrible. Like,
Yeah.
I watched Lisa Frankenstein on Peacock, and I could not tell what was going on because the night scenes looked terrible. I couldn't see. There was just pixelation all over the place.
Yeah.
And then I have the Blu-ray of Lisa Frankenstein. I popped it in. I'm like, oh, okay, I can see what's going on. This movie's great.
Yeah.
Once that gets fixed and figured out, I feel like that's just another nail in the coffin of physical media. I feel like it's just another reason not to own something.
Yeah, the saving grace to physical media is like what you were talking about earlier, of when you're looking at streaming services and not knowing, well, it was on Netflix. Wait, it's not there anymore. Where is it now? Or is it anywhere right now? I think that's the saving grace of it, is that, like, right now, I have nothing against streaming. I stream a lot of stuff, but then I'm searching like, oh, wait, is it on something? I thought it was on this one. It's not there now. Where is it now? And is it on a different one or not at all now? People
say that's the saving grace, but it kind of makes, I I don't know about your kids. Your kids are older than my kids. Right
Yeah,
now, my
yeah,
kids, like, we watch a movie every Friday for
yeah.
movie night, but more often than not, like, they are watching YouTube. They are
Oh, yeah.
watching
No, yeah.
TikTok. Like, they
Yep.
don't really care to watch a movie
Yeah,
unless, like, I put it on them, and then they're excited about it. Like, every Friday, it's an event to go watch a movie, or if we go to the
yeah,
movie theater, they get excited about it. But they never come down here when they're bored to pop a movie and to watch.
yeah.
They scroll on their tablets or they pop a video on YouTube, and that's their entertainment. I'm more
I
nervous about movies than what I am like how I watch movies, I guess.
I agree with that. After you said that, and, I'm thinking about that as you're talking about that, and I completely agree. Uh, yeah, when you said that, I remember. So my son's 21.
Yeah.
He honestly asked me, "Why would you want to watch a movie more than once?"
Yep.
Like you've seen the movie, why would you want to rewatch that movie with
Sure.
other things that are out? And then I'm like, and then my daughter is 18, and she would be one that would fall more, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but she'd fall more into TikTok or Instagram, watching that instead.
Hmm.
Um, so no, yeah. Sorry, I'm just kind of thinking out loud while you said that.
That's something that
I totally
I
could see
think
that.
about. Yeah, it's something I think about a lot that I don't think it's talked about enough in the
Right,
physical media community. Like, sometimes I think we shouldn't be as protective over the stuff that we have,
right,
because we have it. Like, the stuff that we have, it's fine. It's not going anywhere.
right.
And I don't think we're really going to bring too many people into the physical media space either.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'm not going to force that on anybody. It
right.
makes me, what has kind of baffled me is that the young kids that from the content that I make, kind of type into me and say, "You made me start collecting physical media." Like, I probably
Yeah.
hear that a couple times a week, and I'm like, "That's amazing
You're
that
like, really?
this is happening." Like, I'm not like the people that, like, "Why aren't you doing this?" and like, "The hobby's gonna die if you don't do this." Like, that's not
Yeah.
the way to get people into the hobby at
No,
all. The
no.
way to get people into the hobby is just to show how much you love it.
Yeah.
And if people see how much you love it and they kind of be like, "Okay, maybe I do want to start doing this too. I like movies as well. Why don't I own movies?" Like,
Right.
that's the way you can kind of convert people over to a hobby that you like, is not by vinegar, with honey,
Right.
people, with
Yep.
sugar, for
Yep.
sure.
No, absolutely. But yeah, no, it is interesting looking at over the different age groups or generations, what
Yeah.
they kind of get pulled into. And no, yeah. Sorry, no, I was just got kind of thinking about that when you said that, and I'm like, yeah, so many things started flooding in. Like, first thing that came into my mind was like my son saying, like, "Why would you want to watch a movie more than once?" And
Hmm.
I'm like, why wouldn't you want to watch a movie?
Yeah.
If you love it, there's so many movies I've watched more than one time before. But
My kids still aren't there. Like,
yeah,
God, they were in a phase to where we were just watching Finding Nemo over and over again. Like, they only
yeah,
wanted to watch one movie, and that's when I'm
yeah.
like, okay. But for me, I don't know about your habits, but I usually, like, if I watch a movie, I'm okay if I don't rewatch it for another year at the very least.
Oh, sure, yeah, because there's so many you haven't seen
There's so
before,
many to
and
choose from.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
A question for you: do you know off the top of your head, like, ballpark, how many movies you have in your collection that you haven't watched yet?
Oh, I need to work on it. I'm probably 30% of my collection I have not seen.
Yeah, I keep track of that on my movies app.
I'm just guessing, but
But before I got stuff sent to me from the studios, I was about like a 70-30 split. 70 I've
yeah,
seen, 30 I
okay,
haven't.
yeah.
Now with everything that I'm getting in,
Well, that's
it's
different.
like
Yeah,
45, 55. Like, it's getting close to that halfway pie circle. And
yep, yep.
that makes me a little nervous, because even if I did this for my full-time job, even if I watched a movie a day, I still wouldn't be done for like 3 years. Like, it would take me a very long time where I'm sitting currently.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, like if you're getting like 6 to 10 movies in a month or whatever, I'm just that's a lot of movies adding on top of whatever you haven't watched already.
I
And
took a week off last Friday because the Packers were playing on Friday, but
yeah, yeah,
I tend to do another new release roundup this week.
yeah.
I'm looking at the stack of movies that I have, and it's at least 40 titles of stuff I've gotten in 2 weeks, and I've bought 3 of them.
And how
Like,
many are over 2 hours? It's
there's,
like,
there's a box set with like 8 movies in it.
right,
Like,
exactly.
there's just a lot of stuff, and I love collecting this stuff. It's just like, you get to a certain point to where, like we talked about earlier, time is precious and you only get X amount of it. So when do you actually like stop for a second and think about like, okay, what do I have here? When am I feasibly going to have the time to finish everything that I have? And for me, that's another reason why I've kind of like stopped purchasing as much as what I did when I started.
Yeah. And I know I've cut back the last few months too, where I was like, I'm going to dig a little more into either movies I have sitting on the shelf, or I'm paying for a few streaming services to actually use them if I'm paying for them, you know?
Yep.
And yeah, it's a common theme I've heard from a lot of collectors. Not saying they're not going to collect anymore, but I've heard a kind of common theme of just pumping the brakes a little bit and
I think that slowdown is partially because we aren't tempted to buy it at retail anymore.
Right.
We go
when
now,
the prices keep on going up.
Well, the prices go up, and you go into Walmart's, and you never know if your Walmart's going to have what you're looking for. Like even new release wise, you don't even know if the shelves are going to be stocked.
Yep.
So for me, I'm very much an impulse buyer.
Yeah. Well, it's hard
through. So I kind of see something that I want and I'm able to get it. So I do. And sometimes I don't think about, okay, when are you going to watch this, dude?
Right.
You don't think about that until like you're driving home. Like, oh,
yeah.
Okay. But if it's not on the shelf to begin with in the first place, it's just like, well, that kind of made the decision for me.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. I apologize. I've fallen behind on the chat again. If you don't, I know it's bad to say, do you mind if I do that? But I might run through them just real quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
Catch up a little bit. But
we
have Chris C in here saying evening, everyone. Thanks, Chris C, for jumping in. I'll just jump through. I might be skipping some, but Dee was saying, oh, nope, I said that one already. So here's one thing I love about Jake, Iowa. I mean, Boston. Whenever I tell him what I watched every week, his reaction always pops up. You have no idea how grateful I am for that.
Yeah, I'm always interested in the people that come back to me weekly, especially. Like I don't understand how I'm growing an audience here to begin with, let alone like I love doing live streams, and live streams are honestly like one of the things that perform the least best for me.
Yeah.
But I still love to do it just because I love the audience that keeps on coming back for things. Like I will never stop doing that because I appreciate you guys watching the stuff that I do.
I agree, and that's something I've kind of fallen in love with and have gone with, and I've had multiple people tell me, like, well, Corey, that's why you don't get more subs. You're just doing live streams, you know? And I'm like, but I'm having fun with it, and people are out here talking. So I'm like, and I'm not planning on quitting my job to do this, you know?
Right.
Kind of a thing. So
that's the dream, but I never see that dream actually happening for sure. Yeah.
Well, you have it more of a reality than I do. So.
I don't even know about that, man. I really don't.
Dee was saying we used to love going to Best Buy and Target during Black Friday for movies. Oh yeah. They'd have some great.
I didn't go out last year. I didn't go out for Black Friday last year for the first time in I can remember, just because I looked at what movies that were on sale and I'm like, I either have all of these or the prices weren't good enough for me to pick up. And now it's just gonna be Walmart maybe having retail prices on things.
Yeah.
I don't know. Even less of a reason to do it.
I know. But then Amazon will throw some out there too during those times. And but that's what makes it hard then when you're like, oh, if I wait, if I don't care if it has a slip or not, and I can get a nice 4K for $9.99 instead of, 20, 25, 30, whatever. But love that, Jake. What a great idea to always switch out the movies. I think with the displays,
One of the reasons why I love to do it.
It's fun. Yeah. You just mix it up a little bit.
Yep.
Hey, Rich, how's it going? Saying what's up, everyone. Sorry I'm late. No worries, man. I'm late to get into your comment. I am way behind.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
Yeah. Oh, it is. This December, whenever Jake is having a live stream sometime, I will give y'all my top 10 favorite of 2024 and my updated all-time favorites. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite of the year so far, Corey?
I would honestly, not to just fall back on it because we were talking about it, but I would say Late Night with the Devil is probably one that jumps out for me.
That's the only movie I log a movie a day on Letterboxd. I've done
Yeah.
it so far the entire way through this year, and that's the only movie I've given a perfect 5 to that's come out this year.
I enjoyed that one a lot, and I know it's not perfect, but I enjoyed it a lot, and maybe I enjoyed it even more because I knew it was a smaller budget film, and I
Yeah.
liked how much they did with what they had. And when I went out to see it, like I said, I found out about it. I had one more night to go see it.
Mm-hmm.
I got to the theater, very small market where I'm at. I got out to the theater. I was the only person in that theater watching it.
It's kind of the best, though.
It was
Yeah,
creepy, and I loved it.
sure.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I
Had a
still
good
remember
time
going to
with
the
it.
theater. That's how I saw Air. Like, no one else was in that theater watching the Ben Affleck, Matt Damon
Oh
Nike
yeah, I
movie.
still need to see that. I need to
It's
see
pretty
that.
dang solid. Pretty
Yeah,
dang solid.
I heard it's really good because it kind of focuses on some stuff that you don't think it was going to,
Yeah, I mean, you more
like
think
the
about,
family and
like,
the
yeah,
relationship instead of just MJ and
but
his
it's more about
career.
how Nike was like a small business and they would like grow, like what this deal is focusing on and the whole movie focuses on
Well, and
makes
they were
them
almost
into
going
what
under
Nike
at the time
is.
too, weren't they?
Yeah. They
Yeah,
weren't doing great. Like, if this decision failed with Jordan, they probably would have went under, went
yeah.
bankrupt. Yeah.
I still remember that. I'm old enough where I remember him playing at North Carolina, and that was such a
Sure.
huge deal. Who was gonna draft him, and then that was the first time that there was some major endorsement deals going on. Like it just didn't really
Hmm.
happen before. I mean, there's probably some, but I think he was the biggest one at the time
Sure.
when Nike was just they doubled down. They were just
Yeah.
like, we're going for him.
And for me with movies, like if you start off slow but then like have a really good ending, that's
Yeah,
what sticks with me the most. Like, I remember going to see Long Legs with you, Corey, and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I really liked the way that movie ended, how it kind
yeah,
of wrapped itself up in a nice, neat little bow. And
yeah.
that's still like one of my favorite movie going experiences from this year. Because once we saw it, like we talked in that parking lot for like an
Yeah, we
hour and a
did.
half. It was great. You don't get those too often, and so when
Oh
I
no.
do, I just always soak it in.
I enjoyed that so much. Any interaction like that, I don't know. It just felt, I don't know. It was a good time. I
Yeah,
enjoyed doing that so much. Just good people talking about a movie, and I just don't have that everyday life all the time where people
I
want
used
to
to do it.
talk about it.
I used to do it all the time in high school,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then I
yeah,
had that group of friends that I did the podcast with, and we saw
yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
movies together and talked
yeah,
about them and stuff. But the older you get, the less opportunities you have when it comes to doing that. So yeah,
yeah.
it's not. If only to get together once a year to go see a movie and
That's
have
fun.
that experience again too. Just yeah, yeah.
Yep,
You relish it the less time you get with it for sure.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
you appreciate it each time even
Yep.
more for sure. Jeff was saying, "Yo, Rich, you're never late. You're always on time. Hope you're great this evening." Okay, I'm gonna skip through a bunch of these. If I miss anybody, I apologize again. I know I say that a lot, but we got Steve in here. If you're still here, sorry, I know I'm way behind, but saying greetings to Corey, Jake, and Flick friends. Thanks for jumping in.
Hello.
Um, wow, everybody's being so nice and like just waving and saying hi to each other, and I can't keep up with it. I try to do better with it, but we got Smirk in here too, saying, "Hey, good evening, Wilkie and Steelbook Obsessed."
How's it
Thank
going?
you. What brand of OLED are you going with, Rich? I went with LG, and I'm very happy with it. I know he's asking Rich, but do you rock an OLED at
I
your
do have an
house?
OLED,
Okay.
and God, I talked with last movie standing about a month ago. I think the best way to kind of see your 4K thing is to save up for an OLED
Yeah,
because
that's what I
it's
hear.
a night and day difference. My basement has no windows whatsoever. It's just pitch black. So
So
when
it's
I went
perfect.
from my just LCD TV, it had like the bar lights on the back,
Yeah,
and that's how it was lit up, and that always drove me bonkers.
yeah,
So when the OLED, every light is just a pixel.
yeah.
It makes your picture shine so well, and I cannot. I the longer you wait, the cheaper it's going to be for sure. But even right now, like OLEDs aren't super expensive. The one that I got, I want to say cost like God, like $2,000 or something,
Oh,
$1,800, $2,000, somewhere in that ballpark. Because I bought it like 2.5 years ago. But
well,
it's still like the best purchase I've made for my movies,
if it
just
makes
because
you
it makes
feel
them shine.
if it makes you feel any better, probably 17, almost 18 years ago, we had a small corner to put a TV, and we bought a 32-inch LCD TV. It was $1,000.
Uh-huh.
$1,000. It was 32-inch LCD, and it's heavier than what probably a 70-inch OLED is right now.
Right.
But it's crazy the prices of how they've dropped and changed.
It's crazy how thin this TV is.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
when I was putting it on my wall mount, it tells you not to hold it at the top because if you do, you could break it. Like it has stickers on the back of it. Only hold it from the bottom. Like how am I supposed to get this up here if only holding it from half the TV? It's crazy.
I want to do that. Yeah, for my next one, I want to do that so bad. But it's so hard when you have a TV that's still working, or at least for me, like to replace it when it's still
I
working
agree.
really well.
The main reason why I bought this was because of COVID and because I was just stuck in my house. And because,
Upgrade.
Yeah. The TV that was downstairs came with the house, so I'm just like, okay, whatever. And yeah, I fought for that one. I saved up for it. I finally bit the bullet and bought it, and yeah, no regrets at all. And I bought like what 65-inch. Like now you can get 75, 80 inches at the price that I bought the 65 for. And
it's crazy how they've dropped, but yeah, that's on my wish list someday. But right now,
you don't have an OLED yet?
No, I don't.
Highly recommend it. I think that is when you will see the true potential of all the 4Ks you're buying.
Oh, I know, but the big one that I have downstairs right now, I bought it probably 8 years ago, 8 or 9, and it's 4K and it's really nice for what it is. It's a nice big size, but I don't think OLEDs were going at that point, and it's still rocking along. I still enjoy it, but I know I know when I get OLED to replace it, I'll be like, ooh, yeah, that's what they're talking about.
This is a Vizio OLED, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about Vizio OLEDs, and I am I love every Vizio I've had. I have not had a bad experience with. They've always been great TVs for me.
So the TV I'm talking about right now is a Vizio.
Yeah.
My big one. It's a 70-inch 4K. It had so it was before OLED, but it had zoned I can't remember
lighting.
Exactly. Yeah, where it could kind of shut it down a little bit more than the older ones.
Sure.
Not like an OLED, because an OLED when it goes black, it's just
amazing. It's
just
amazing.
Nothing.
Yes.
So like mine, when there's black, there's still a little bit of a glow there. You know, like if you have the lights all off, you can still kind of see it there.
I always have a tradition. Like I put in the movie and then like it loads and like has like a bright screen, but then it goes completely black. And I'm hoping that I make it to turn off the lights and go in my lazy boy chair before it goes all black, because I cannot see a dang thing when it goes completely dark because the room is just pitch black.
I know what you're talking about, because like mine, I could still make it to my seat.
Yeah.
you know, it's better than the old ones that I had, especially way better than the old plasma ones that I had. You know, I started off with, but
sure,
it still has enough of a glow in the black sections that your eyes can adjust and you can find your way to your seat. But I've heard that's just crazy I haven't experienced it yet. I mean, I've seen it in stores, but I think it's just going to be completely different.
It's not the same though, because the stores are all lit up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I've only had a handful of people over since I've had this TV, but one of the times that I had people over was just watching the Super Bowl, and they had never seen it on an OLED before. And even like those type of broadcasts, when they are like big sporting events, sometimes like you put out a better signal.
They pump it up.
They make it look as good as possible. So I turned off the lights for a good like 90 seconds and just showed them. Yeah. They're like, "Oh, TVs can look like this?" I'm like, yeah. This isn't even like the best it can look. Like come watch like the two experiences that I have when I watch OLED 4K experiences on a disc. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, I really enjoyed that transfer and just the color pops of
Yeah.
a 1970s movie and made it feel like I was watching it for the first time again.
Yeah.
And still, Second Sight's Drive, that 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 transfer was just phenomenal because there's so many night scenes,
Oh
and
yeah.
it makes it pop so dang well with that release. It's great.
I would love to see that one on it. The dark scenes, and they have some like neon and like pops of light that
It's
I
just
think would
it's a
really
very
stand out.
pretty movie.
Yeah.
Yep. Hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Are you ordering that? Did you get that new Steelbook in? That
I did. I did
yeah,
get that Steelbook in. Yeah.
yeah. That was
I did a
4K too,
video
wasn't it?
where I kind of compared the transfers and stuff, and
Okay, I missed that one.
the Sony one isn't bad. Like the Sony one is still really good. It's still like very high tier, but it's not. It does not get completely to the levels of the Second Sight.
Okay, no, that's clear. I missed that one. So yeah, Second Sight still takes it a little bit.
I mean, by a hair,
Very
but yes, it did, in my opinion.
So you're talking about that inching out just a little bit with the quality of the film. What about the special features? Did everything carry over, or is Second Sight still carrying a torch for that one?
The Sony one had a couple of new special features in it where they brought back like Ron Perlman and Christina Hendricks and
Okay.
a couple other like behind the scenes like cinematographers and stuff. So that was cool. And the majority of the Second Sight special features are on the Sony disc.
Okay.
I think there was only one that didn't make the transfer or something, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I was looking at both of those. I'm still rocking my old Blu-ray of Drive, but I could see there's just certain movies that I'm like, oh yeah, I could see where that could really pop. Where
Yeah.
dark scenes or like the neon or I can't talk, fluorescent lights
Right.
popping the night scenes, the driving down like through the city and stuff.
For me, the two that really pop are either completely different spectrums. Either
Yeah.
animated movies, they
Yeah.
always look so good, or black and white movies, just because
yeah.
there's so much different contrast between the black and the white to where like they just absolutely shine on
Just
4K.
pop.
Yeah.
No, I could see that. Someday I got to get that OLED.
I'm not a salesman here.
Yeah,
Corey, okay. I'm just telling you what I know.
I'm just saying. No, I already know I'd love it, but yeah, when I got one working, it's hard to replace it.
No, I totally get it.
Movie Hunter is saying Expendables 1 through 4 $70, Hatchet Collection 75, Hunger Games 60, all single steals.
Yeah.
Prices aren't the same without Best Buy price matching or any mortar store competition.
Agreed. It's nice to have Walmart still doing the retail stuff, but they can kind of do whatever they want right now, and there's no competing. And I don't know if it's like that in your neck of the woods right now, but they got rid of the Steelbook section and just kind of replaced it with the horror section.
Yeah.
That have some bloody, disgusting ones on the very top, but the rest of them are just like DVD slipcovers. Steelbooks kind of moved over to like the side of the new release wall, if you know what I'm kind of talking. Like there's a new release end cap almost.
Yeah.
Steelbooks are on like the side of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they're going to stay. I don't think they're going to go back to the big wall to what they were. So hopefully at least there's a presence of Steelbooks in Walmart for the foreseeable future, but who knows?
Mine are kind of weird. I'm in the middle. I'm out in the country and I'm in the middle of two cities. So, and they each have like two Walmarts. And one of them never had the Steelbook section.
Sure.
Never. And I haven't been back through all of them recently, but when they was the big first flood of Walmart getting Steelbooks, I was trying to hit them pretty often just because I was looking for some of those re-releases that I didn't get the first time around.
Yeah. Hopefully you got that American Psycho one.
I have it.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
I got that one. Yep. That was one of the earlier ones I got too. But and I actually got some for some friends too. Yeah, that's kind of the fun thing with this social media thing too, because a couple people were like, I wish I could have got that. And I'm like, there's two sitting here. Do you want one of them? And I'm like, I won't charge you anything extra than, if you pay for the shipping, I'll send it to you. And that's usually better than eBay price,
I did that a lot when that magical time a few months ago to where they were putting Steelbooks in the $5 bins.
Oh, yeah.
I hooked a lot of people that I are friends with on physical media up on that stuff.
Yeah.
Because we're never going to see that again, ever.
Yeah. I got a few. Yeah, probably not. No. I got a few of them. Actually, the first time we met up, I got a couple good ones. And that was before the true big push of the $5
Right.
Steelbooks.
That
But
was before they got like the Best Buy
yes,
overstock in and
yes,
just threw it in.
yep.
Yeah.
I think some of them were Target exclusive at the time, but or originally.
Right.
But I think that first time we hung out, one of them I got was the uh, Total Recall,
Yeah.
the little box.
And Terminator 2.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yep,
The one that kind of switched. It has the
yep,
lenticular on there. Yep.
yep. That was $5.
Very nice release.
Man, I was like, because I think I was complaining about no Steelbooks in there, and then I like grab one out of my hand, and you're like, "That's a Steelbook." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it is."
It's a really good looking Steelbook. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was pretty happy about getting that one. But Eli Cortez is in here saying hi to all of us.
Hey.
So thanks for doing that. Gonna run through here. Rich was saying I have fiber and I love it. Yep. Once you go fiber, you won't go back.
You have fiber too, Corey?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
We did not for a long time.
Yeah.
And the internet speeds were pretty bad.
It's literally a quarter of a mile in all directions except for like where it is where I'm at. It drives me bonkers. But I think that I got notified that they're finally coming in November, so I cannot wait.
We were a similar situation, and it was quite a few years ago now, but we were out in the country and we had a group of homes kind of out, it was kind of a cornfield development kind of a thing, out in the middle of nowhere. They had fiber running down the gravel road, the ditch from one small town to another, but they wouldn't bring it into us.
Right.
And then we finally did a little petition of like, yes, all of us will sign up for your internet if you dig it in here.
We have to do that too.
They finally did it.
Yeah, they wouldn't come in until I think 20% of our neighborhood signed up and said that they would get it.
We were similar, yeah.
Yeah, it drove me nuts.
But yeah, it was really bad before we got that. But yeah, now it's really good. And I don't even have the fastest package they have. I think we're right now I'm 500 up and 500 down.
Okay.
But they have gig.
Yeah, I'm doing gig because even a gig now is going to be cheaper than the 300 meg I have currently. So there's no reason not to do it. Do you see a difference in streaming
from
when you got the fiber as opposed to like the old internet you had?
Hands down. Yeah. No question. Buffering or loading. Long time ago, so even before we had the better internet, we cut off the dish and went streaming. Just save some money for what people were actually watching in our house. And oh gosh, there's a huge difference. And then with some of the changes from working from home, there's sometimes where my wife and I are both working from home and doing video conferencing, and a kid could be watching it. Well, now some are out of the house now, but at the time could be streaming a 4K movie, or for a little while we had 2 kids doing video class work, with the fun stuff that was going on in early 2020.
Sure.
And so we'd have 2 kids on classes on video, and then my wife and I both on work. And so we did bump it up at that time. And I just never put it back because downloading and then just even going out to watch, you were talking about a football game, just bringing it up or a movie to watch, it is so much quicker. It's a noticeable difference to have it up and running, and the pixelation, some of that stuff, it still can happen. Yeah, but it is so much better than what it used to be.
That's the main thing I want to fix now. Like if that's the reason why it's doing that, like I think 300 meg for the most part does very well for what
that's still a good speed. But
yeah. Well, once I get that gigabyte, like I'm salivating just thinking about it, man.
Oh, believe me, we tried it out. They had a free month where we could try it out, and it's when my son was. It was years ago. He was still at home, but he was a big gamer, and there were some pretty big games where they'd have to download, and it was crazy how fast he could get it up and running and playing, and not bog down if somebody was watching a show on Netflix in the living room or something. So, no, it's I'll never go. I probably will never go slower than what we have right now, but I'd love to go to the gig, but it's enough of a jump where right now this is doing the trick.
But don't rock the boat if you don't have to.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah. Steve was saying, great choice, Rich. I believe it's best from the competition for its price as well. So I don't know if I missed. Sorry. That's where I'm far enough behind
Yeah,
sometimes.
I think that's what's happening. I think this might be
Sorry.
from half an hour ago. Where I'm like, I don't remember what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
sorry. That's where I'll try to
That's all
run
good.
through this quick.
Yeah.
I'm on gig with Spectrum. Yeah. Yeah. You'll never want to go slower than that. Once you get used to that,
Right.
it's kind of like when I bought, so I said my TV, I know it's not OLED, but I bought a 70-inch TV and that thing looked just flipping gigantic when we put it in the room that we
Yep.
got it in.
Yep.
It was like, what did I do? And then now it just looks normal. You get
Isn't that crazy?
accustomed to
Yeah.
it. And
I was randomly in a Walmart today and I was just looking at their TVs and I was shocked at like how cheap an 85-inch TV is. Or no, I was in Sam's Club. That's what I was doing. An 85-inch TV was like $800. I'm like, how is this happening right now?
I think I saw a similar thing when I went last time I went through Walmart. They had a 70 or 75 4K for like $500.
That's just where we're at right now.
Yeah.
I think if you wait a couple more years, you'll be able to get an OLED pretty dang cheap because there will
Yeah.
just be another technology they're pushing. Like I think what I saw at CES last year was like rollable TVs,
Oh yeah, yeah. Yep.
that type of thing. Like there will be a new thing that they're trying to push just so
Yeah.
you can try to convert people to get a new technology. It always happens.
One thing I was actually looking at, one of the new technologies I was seeing, they had some short throw laser projection that you could do where it's sitting right up close to the wall.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
you don't have to have it behind you. It's up close to the wall, and it's a short throw, like super ultra short throw
Yeah.
laser, and you can get a 4K, 120 inch, 100 inch, whatever,
Yep.
and it's only sitting like a few feet away from the wall
Yeah.
that you're on.
Granted, this is just like a 1080p, but like they make those pretty readily available for like $100 on TikTok.
Yeah.
Just like ones that you can stream random things. Like I thought about just grabbing it just to have like a movie night outside one night. Just because
Funny.
it's so affordable, you're like, yeah, why not do that?
Yep. It's funny you should say that. I have an Epson 1080p projection. It was a couple $100, but you could throw it to 100, 110 inches.
Yeah.
It's not a 4K,
Still.
and
Yeah.
just
It's
depending on what you listen
convenient.
to, but it's
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah.
So even in the room I'm sitting at right now, I have a big open wall. I have a pull down screen.
Sure.
I'll put it up and throw it up there.
Why not?
There's some nights I'll throw headphones on and watch. I mean, I don't know what I get it up to, but I mean, it's at least 90 inches.
Sure.
And it's just, I don't know, not the perfect picture, but it's fun. You
Right.
sit back and watch a big movie screen.
Hmm.
So that's I know people debate on that when we were looking at OLEDs and prices, with people saying like, well, it's worth going smaller to get the better picture instead of going bigger and a lesser picture. But I think it's each to your own. I mean, sometimes it's kind of fun to have that big picture in front of you. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it's kind of like going to a drive-in theater. You can sacrifice some of the clarity for just the
For the
experience
experience.
of
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely.
And I think we talked about that a little bit before too, where you've taken the family to some drive-in theaters, haven't you?
Yeah, we have a drive-in about half an hour away from us. So
Yeah.
we usually go a couple times in the summertime.
Yeah.
Yep.
I grew up with one, and so the one you're going to, I'm sure is way better than what I did back in the 80s. But I always remember that. It was so much fun. It was like you'd get together with family and
Yep.
do a little picnic and have a couple movies. And
We always have our friends bring one friend over just to kind of spread the word that the drive-in is there. So
Yeah.
hopefully they bring their families sometime just because like hopefully you either see a movie that you've already seen or a movie
Yeah.
you don't care too much about. Like
Yeah.
I think one of the movies we saw was Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. Perfect movie to see at a drive-in just because it's just big things crashing into other big things. You don't really need to see it in the best clarity. you
even
possibly
bigger, you
can.
know?
It's the experience for sure. And like
Oh, yeah.
you can rent little radios there because they still have the poles of where like the old speakers used
Yeah.
to be to where like you grab them to put them on your car.
Yeah.
They don't utilize those anymore. Right now,
Okay.
you just go to a radio station. You
Okay.
can either have it playing in your car, but you don't want to waste the battery on your
Yeah.
car. they also have like these like rechargeable radios that you can just like check out from the concession stand. And
Oh,
those
cool.
things sound really freaking nice too.
I was going to say the things that we used to listen to were the tin cans on the poles, and they
Right.
probably were horrible for sound, but
Yes.
I don't ever remember complaining about that. We were just like, look at how big that picture is in front of us, and it was just,
Yeah.
I don't know, at the time, that's where at home you were rocking like a 13 or 15-inch TV though too. And so when you saw that big
That was
drive-in
a big
theater,
deal.
that was a
Yeah.
big deal. But
Yep.
Rich was saying watching Longlegs with you guys was amazing. For me, watching movies is a communal experience. It's fun when you can do it.
Correct. Yeah. Again, it doesn't happen as often the older you get, for sure. So
I watch a lot of movies by myself.
a lot. Yeah. I like to go to the movie theater by myself too.
I still do. I still do. My wife still like looks at me. She's like, "You're gonna go all by yourself?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to go see it." And I know I'm not gonna put you through it because I just know it's not one that she'll be interested
Right.
in. No, nothing bad against her. I just know it
Yeah.
is not something she'd be interested in.
Movies that we both want to watch, I will wait for her to see in theaters with
Yep.
me. And if we
Yep.
don't end up making it, I'm okay watching it at home. But I want to say The Substance is having like a special showing on Wednesday. That new horror movie with Demi Moore.
Oh, I've heard about it. I have not seen much about it. Yeah.
It's from the director of a movie called Revenge. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
I haven't, and I have not watched it yet.
Movie's very, very good. This
Okay.
movie is like a body horror movie.
Okay.
Just ticking all the boxes. So I'm going to try to go out Wednesday night to see it. And I know she has no interest in watching it. So
Okay.
that's just one of the ones where I'm like, okay, I'll just sneak in by myself. Can I
Yep.
go with some more like-minded people that have similar tastes? Because you don't know about The Substance unless you know about it.
Correct. Yeah.
You're not just going to walk into that movie willy-nilly.
Right. Yep. So one of the recent ones I did go with my wife was Twisters. And
Yeah.
so that was one she was excited to go see because we both were fans of the original. And so that was a good one that we both got to go out and see. But
Have you ever been to a movie in 4DX?
no, I have not. I have not.
It's an experience for sure.
Like
for sure.
the seats rocking and everything.
I know a lot of people did it for the first time for Twisters. Twisters seems like the perfect movie for 4DX.
Yeah.
I did it once with Shazam, and that was enough for me because the seats don't move all of the time, but they move probably every 5 to 10 minutes. Whenever there's like a big action sequence, the seats move. You get misted, like if there's like rain or something. There's like smell-o-vision stuff. Like I still remember a car crash in Shazam, and it just reeked of burnt rubber for a while.
Oh man.
So once that smell hit, it still smelled like burnt rubber for the remainder of the movie.
You're like, I got it.
When there's like lightning out, it flashes strobe lights at you. Like,
oh wow.
It's fun, but I would say it's fun for like an hour max. Like, don't go see like Avatar was playing it. I'm like, I would not want to be stuck in here for 3 hours with these moving seats. No, thank you.
Yeah, I would have to see. It'd be interesting to check it out, but no, I have not done that yet.
Go see a short movie if you do. I recommend short movies, not epics.
I'll have to find a really short one that doesn't have a lot of crazy stuff going on. But
yeah,
I could see that. But I've even had that with 3D movies where there's been some that have bothered me a little bit. Where I don't know, I was like, close my eyes for a little bit or something. But one I remember going to when my son was quite a bit younger, he really wanted to go see Tron Legacy when it first came out.
Sure.
In 3D. And that was one of them. I enjoyed the movie, but there was a couple times I just shut my eyes for a little bit, and I don't know, it just kind of bothered me a little bit. But
yep. I don't see a lot of 3D movies anymore. Like the
I
last one I saw was Avatar 2, and that before that it was like 5 years since I'd seen a 3D movie.
I think it just hits people differently sometimes when you go to see them. So I'm not itching to. Man, I bet you that might have been my last 3D movie I was at, and how long ago did that movie come out? Tron Legacy, that's pretty old. So I mean,
Tron Legacy, it's been a very
So I bet you that's been my last 3D movie I went to.
2011.
I wouldn't
2012.
I wouldn't doubt it. No, it's been a long time. My son was pretty young at the time. It was fine, but then after that, I was like, I'm okay with the regular.
Right.
But I know some people that absolutely love them too. But That's the same reason why some people get seasick on a boat and some people don't, I guess, It's
Correct.
just, got Trini in here saying, what's up? Jeff was saying, hey, Eli, get the OLED. Join us.
One of these days.
Yeah, I will one of these days, but I'm not there yet. Van Gool is saying, I have a new 65-inch TCL QM7, and this is thin TV compared to older TV. Yeah, it's crazy. And the weight is so much decreased from... I have a 50. I still have it down the basement.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't gotten rid of it yet, but I have a 50. I think it's a 50-inch, 50 or 55, but I think it's 50-inch plasma, like the old plasma.
Yeah, the suckers are heavy.
Oh, compared to I have a 70-inch LCD that still is probably heavy compared to the new ones, but there's a huge weight difference between those two.
Right.
The 70-inch way lighter.
Mm-hmm.
It's just more awkward where you still need two people, but it's not hard to carry around or anything.
Sure.
Van Gool is saying, Corey, if you get a new TV like OLED or mini OLED, you'll need to rewatch all your movies. Hey,
gives you a reason to.
There you go.
Honestly, like I watched the Dark Knight trilogy a month before I got my OLED, and I have been wanting to rewatch them on OLED for sure.
I could see, a lot of movies want to go back and see those. Yeah, Rich was saying excited for my OLED.
You should be. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a game changer. I don't say that too often, but OLEDs with a 4K player does not get much better.
I'm ready for one. It's just not yet. Pop Culture was saying, if you can't afford OLED, mini LED is great. And I've heard that. It can just still minimize, like localize the, shutting off the pixels and everything. But yeah. Trini was saying, I want a 4K projector. That though, I was talking about those short throws. Some of those laser short throws are 4K, and I heard they're cool. And I'm interested to look at some of those where you can just have them like 4 foot away from a wall and throw in 120 inches.
I thought about doing a projector in the basement. Like I was either going to do the OLED or the projector, and I just didn't know enough about projectors. I'm like, I'm just going to stick with a TV. I like TVs.
Yeah. Projectors. There's some more to think about with them. Yeah. Not saying they're bad, but there's more to think about with them.
When I'm watching a movie, I don't want to like think. I just want to like pop something on really quick and go, I guess.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, in some of the OLED or the TVs, you can have a little more light in the room and not bother the picture. I know some of the newer projectors are better with it, but sometimes it can affect it more if you can't really block out sunlight or other things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff was saying, I have a gig. It's nice. I started getting serious about YouTube channel once I got fiber. It's a lot better.
Sure.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, no buffering at all. It's almost instant. I could see that a lot with ours right now. That's where what we have right now, I couldn't see going slower than that. You just get used to it.
Right.
Maybe if you never went to it and you were at a lower level, you wouldn't know any difference. But yeah. Sorry, I'm running through here real quick.
No, you're fine.
Trini was saying 3D for me was always better at home. And I never had a 3D TV. I know that was.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I know there's kind of a second run of 3D stuff because in your if you have or not a projector, the goggles. What the hell do you call them? Just the goggles you put on. I can't remember what the heck they're called. VR. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You can watch 3D movies in your VR goggles.
Yeah.
I was able to do that at a friend's house. I'm like, this is pretty dang cool. Like I could see myself getting sucked in that way with 3D movies.
Yeah. Well, and I know, and Jeff, he has a 3D TV, and I know he still collects them too. But he's like, oh my, now I want to watch Tron in 3D again. It was one of the first movies me and my wife watched together. Yeah, and the set I have has the 3D disc, but I never had anything to watch the 3D. But it was one of those multi-packs where it was the 3D and the Blu-ray and the DVD. But
that's one thing I always look out for at Goodwills, or like 3D copies of movies. Because if they're $2, I'll just buy them just in case I ever do get the setup one of these days.
Yeah, actually, now that you say that, I was just showing this off the other night. I bought this used really cheap and it was the same deal. But and I know not everybody thinks a lot of the movie, but John Carter
Oh,
3D.
nice. Yeah.
So that was one that I was like, and you can't really see it, but it's kind of got the
Lenticular.
lenticular. That's what I'm
Yep.
gonna say. But yeah, as the 3D and the Blu-ray and the DVD. But I know it crashed in the box office, but I
I
still
hear
had
good
kind of
things
fun
about
with
it,
it.
though. Yeah.
I had fun with it.
Hmm.
Trini was saying I still have 90% of my 3D movies. Cool.
Very nice.
I know people that went into it went hardcore into it, but at the
Yeah.
time I couldn't afford it. When it first came out, it was it's probably kind of like we're talking about OLEDs right now.
I just thought of it as a gimmick in movie theaters, and I'm like, I don't think a lot of things are going to utilize it at home either. So
Yeah,
I never ended up getting one either.
yeah. I know I appreciate you hanging out, and I know we've gone all over the place.
Mhm.
So where we're at right now, are you? I just want to be respectful of your time. Are you still good? Or are you?
I could probably go for a little bit longer. I'm fighting a cold. Like I said, I
Yeah,
ran
yeah,
out of
yeah,
tissue.
yeah.
I ran
And
out of
no,
tissue. So
no
I just,
worries either
yeah.
way. No
Mhm.
worries either way. I just don't want to keep you longer than what you were thinking.
You want to go? I could probably do like another 10 minutes if you're okay
Okay.
with that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. Whatever. Like I said, this is supposed to be fun and hanging out, and so I
Mhm.
completely agree with. I was where you're at about a couple weeks ago, so for
Sure.
sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. No. We'll. I'll keep an eye on that, but don't hesitate to say something either.
Okay.
Um. So when you've been doing this for quite a while with all the different formats, like the YouTube, TikTok,
Yeah.
Instagram.
Hmm.
Have you seen anything that's really changed since the time you started? Like some trends that you're like, well, I don't know. It's kind of open-ended question, but
I would say I I started really making content regularly on TikTok, and I feel like that app has changed a bunch just in since I've started
yeah.
in 2020, just because it's focusing a lot more on live streams. It's focusing a lot more on TikTok shop, like buying things from
Hmm.
people.
Hmm.
Like every third or fourth video I do is either a live stream or it's like, oh, buy this thing. And
Right.
I feel like it's not the same app as what it was when I first started watching it, and that kind of
Sure.
drives me bonkers. Because I don't go live a lot. I don't sell anything over there. I just like to make videos. So
Right.
my focus has went from like solely focusing on TikTok to like barely even thinking about it. And if
Hmm.
the numbers don't grow on that one, I'm kind of okay with it.
Right.
Um, I would say the rest of them have been pretty much the same since I've started. I feel like my focuses have changed, but the apps really haven't for the most
Okay.
part. Yeah.
No, I was curious. Yeah. With me, I've been so new to it that I haven't been in it long enough to really say one way or the other, but I was kind of curious what you thought about it. But
Sure.
so that was a question I had. Another one I had with the collection you have, how many
Mhm.
movies you have in there. We're talking about, the movies you get sent or you're picking up on your own. There's quite a few of both of those. How do you go about deciding what you're going to watch in a week?
That's a I feel like I have to like focus in on a theme.
Yeah.
Like for Spooky Dookie season, I am focusing on the Psycho franchise. I've only seen the first one and the remake, and I've heard
Yeah.
2, 3, and 4 are great. And I bought that beautiful Arrow video box set and I just haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
So it gives me a reason to finally do that. But after that, since I'm watching the Psycho remake last, I thought I'd focus more on horror movie remakes
Okay.
because my favorite movie of all time is John Carpenter's The Thing. That, of
Oh,
course, is a
oh,
remake.
yeah.
I also love The Fly. I
Great.
also
Yeah.
love The Blob, the remake. Like, there's a lot of good remakes that are great, but every time I hear about horror movie remakes, I hear of them in a negative sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna kind of dive into my collection and see which ones that I have that I haven't seen are good or bad, and I'll just kind of like make a video series on that and just see what happens there. I always like to do a theme for October for sure, and that's going to be the one this year. And I've already kind of started on that one as well.
Well, I'm not gonna tip my hat yet because I'm doing something tomorrow night.
Uh-huh.
But I'm kind of curious if you'd throw this in there, if you've seen it or not. But the 2009 remake of Friday the 13th compared to some of the originals. I don't know if
Yeah,
you've seen it or not.
I
Or
have. Yeah.
okay, and I'd be kind of curious if you'd throw that into your mix too at all of liking or not liking.
Because when I got that nice Scream Factory box set, I
Yeah.
also one of the Spooky Dookie seasons I went through that entire franchise
Yep.
and I ranked all of them. The remake for me was pretty high.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
pretty high. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that movie a lot. I would say out of the Friday the 13th, Halloween, and Nightmare on Elm Street remakes, that one is by far the best.
Yep.
By far the best. And I wish out of all of those, I wish this was the one that got an actual sequel and not that
Yeah.
Halloween 2 crap that Rob Zombie did. I hated that movie, but yeah, I really liked the cast of that movie. I liked how brutal Jason was in that movie. I liked how they
He
kind
was
of
fast.
he's
He was
very
fast.
fast and his kills are great and
Yeah.
they're gory. And for me, Friday the 13th is very much like the same rinse and repeat almost. And it
Yeah.
gets a little tiring if you're marathoning the franchise.
Yeah.
That one is a good like adrenaline boost.
Yeah.
To me.
Well,
Like that was
definitely.
just like, okay, we're doing something here. Let's go, Jason. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that the 4K is out now. More people get to focus on that reboot because I do think, like I said, out of all the major slasher villains of the 80s, like this one I think is worth your time. The other two you
Yeah.
can totally skip and never watch.
Yeah. You can't tell, but that empty box right there is that set.
Are you
But
going through the franchise now?
I have I was rewatching all of them here.
Are you going to do that for your video tomorrow?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk to you too much about it, but
Yeah. That's why I was
I
just
guess
kind of curious if you'd throw that one in the mix
I'll
with the
get
remakes or whatever.
I'll give you just my brief overview. I think 1, 2, and 3 are kind of like the same-ish movie.
Uh-huh.
4 is pretty good. 5, I'm okay if I never see again. 6 is very fun. 7 is a little less fun, but still kind of fun. And then 8 is kind of that again, but another step down. 9 I can't stand. Jason X, soft spot in my heart. That was for the longest time the only Jason movie I ever watched because it was repeating on Stars all the time.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. So many people I've heard talking on here that they've said that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
You're
like
fine.
having a soft spot for that one, either because it was the first one they were able to see in the theater, they were old enough to see it in the theater, or
Yeah.
like it was on cable or something that they were able to see. So is that
It was on
the case for
Stars
you? That was
so
like some of
much.
the
And,
early
like,
one that you got to see.
That nitro kill with the girl's head
Oh,
going in
that's
there,
classic.
like that is just
That's
imprinted in
classic.
my brain, like that. And I can't remember his terminology for whatever Jason it is in space, like NECA Jason or whatever the crap they call him. Yeah, he
When
looks menacing. He looks awesome. He looks like no other Jason. And that's why
when
I
he gets the
like
upgrade.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
that movie just it's bad. It's cheesy, but it's fun.
yeah.
Like it embraces how cheesy it is, and that's what I kind of like about it.
It leans into it.
Yeah.
So no, cool. So you got that kind of coming up that you'll go through some of the remakes and
Yeah, I think I looked on Letterboxd and kind of made a list of all the ones that I've already logged on there, and I've already seen like 16, and I plan on watching at least another like 8, 10, somewhere around there. So just gives me a reason to watch. Like I've never seen the Hills Have Eyes remake.
Okay.
I haven't logged Let Me In because I've only been on Letterboxd since 2017.
Okay.
But I remember loving Let Me In, the Light Run In remake. Yeah,
yeah,
that movie's great. Yeah, it should be a fun spooky dooky season this year. That's for sure.
Well, so you got that coming up. Is there anything else you want to throw out there that you got coming out, maybe for people to watch out for? Or
plug wise, like I said, every Friday on my channel I do the new release roundup. I also have a podcast, Boutique Talk. You've been on there, Corey. We talked about Carrie. There's a remake of Carrie nobody should ever watch either. I'm not a big fan of that one.
Yep.
God, in the next couple of weeks, I think I can kind of start promoting this. I'm going to have the Dead Pit guys, Dead Pit Radio, on my channel. And I think we decided on a movie today, Cemetery Man from Severin Films.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
I've heard of it, and I've heard really good things. And I wanted to talk Severin because we haven't talked about that label on the channel before.
Okay. Yeah.
So
branch out a little bit.
Yeah, that one should be fun. I'm hoping so. And I think I'm getting both guys on there. So that should be a good time as well. Just, I've always been I've been a fan of their channel ever since I discovered it a little more than a year ago. So
They're characters for sure.
they are, and they're unlike any other people that are kind of talking about physical media. So
Yeah.
it should be fun to pick their brain for a little bit, but
Yeah.
kind of
Oh,
just
that's neat.
watch out for, like I said, I have 3 pickup videos, like one from Goodwill, one from Half Price Books, and another one I can't remember, that are ready to edit. But since I've had the cold, I have not edited them
Yeah.
because I've just
Right.
wanted to go to bed, or I feel like my voice sounds bad for a voiceover. So
Yeah.
hopefully the Half Price Books one will go out tomorrow if I have enough time to edit it after this. But
Yeah.
we shall see. Just be on the lookout if you like the pickup vlog videos. Yeah, look out at Steelbook Obsessed on YouTube.
No, very good. I always love hearing the things that people got rolling out, and like I said earlier, I have a bunch of your links in the description. So if anybody hasn't come across you before, please go out. I got the. I'll even look here before, so I don't like misspeak here. But I got YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Letterboxd links in the
Perfect.
description. Go out there, and if I miss something, I'm sure there's a link tree or something in one of those,
Yeah.
so you can find the
And
other stuff. So
please, out of all of those, the one that I really haven't talked about today until just now is Letterboxd.
yeah,
I love that app. I've loved that
yeah,
app ever since I started using it. And out of like all of the followers that I have, I'm most excited about the growth that Letterboxd has had, because
yeah.
I've always wanted to. There's always been like an inner movie reviewer inside of me. So to see that, I think I'm up to like 2,500 or something on that.
That's nice. Wow.
And,
Yeah.
and just to see that many people care about like my thoughts on movies, that
Yeah.
to me that means like more than anything else. Like I could stop right now and be happy with the growth that I've had.
No, it's fun. It's fun to have that feeling. You to be like, yeah, people are wanting to just hang out and check out what you're talking about with it.
Yeah,
And like Eli just saying, just subbed. So
perfect.
we,
And
we always love seeing that.
I'm a big sucker. Like I said, I track stats and everything. I'm a sucker for lists too, and just like tracking. Whenever I watch something new, like the horror movie remakes, they'll be put in the list. I rank every single movie that I've watched this year as well. That's how I know that Late Night with the Devil is my favorite movie of the
Yeah.
year. Inside
Me
Out
too.
in the top 5, Dune Part 2's in the top 5. Just yeah, if you like that type of thing, just go follow me. I see on my phone I've earned like 4 subscribers so far. That's amazing
I
on
love
Letterboxd.
that.
Thank you very much. That
I
makes
love
me
that.
very excited.
I love that. I get no bigger kick out of doing these things, as small as I am. When somebody's like, "Hey, I got another sub," hanging out doing that. I'm like, I do not. I take a lot of joy in that. It's fun to
I know.
see that. So
I really want to get somebody from Letterboxd on my podcast, because I
that
would love to talk about that. And I feel like the app doesn't get talked about a lot. Like the 4 favorites thing, like that's become a little viral on social media. But just like the origins of the app itself, I would love to dig a little bit more into. I'm trying. I'm
oh,
trying to get somebody to talk to on that.
absolutely. We got another Van Gool
I
just
saw
subbed
them.
as well.
Yeah. This is
Um,
very exciting for me. Thank you,
oh
everybody.
yeah, no, we love every single one of them because it's get to hang out and talk to people more about the things that we love to talk about. But no, sorry, to circle back to that, I
Yeah.
think I would be very interested in that. You getting that would be, yeah, that'd be cool.
I think a lot of
Because
people would, because a
yeah,
lot of people use the app, but I don't know if a lot of people know the origins of the app. I don't know the
yeah,
origins of the app, but there's got to be a story
yeah.
behind it.
Where'd you come from? Where you get, where you want to go? There's a good conversation there to be had, for
Right.
sure. Oh, I'll be looking forward to that. I think you'd be a great. I think you'd be a great one to facilitate that too.
I'm
I've been
hoping so.
using it for 2 years and a little bit more each year. I've been pretty basic the first year, and then
Yeah.
this year trying to get a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people using it, and yeah, I think that would be an interesting story to hear.
And like I said, I've used it since 2017, and just
Oh,
seeing the
so you're
growth
early.
of that, like
Yeah,
it really wasn't growing from when I started using it up until like 2022. I would say
yeah,
like the past year and a half, the
really
sucker has
popped off.
skyrocketed, just because you're getting celebrities to talk about their 4 favorites. They're going on the red carpets and talking to people. Like they're really pushing their brand hard, and
Yeah.
I just love to see it.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely, Eli. Don't forget to sub to Jake.
Thank
We
you.
we love that. So we'll start wrapping up here. I know, like, I appreciate all the time you've been spending tonight, and I know
Yeah.
you're not running at 100%. So
I,
I
I
appreciate
hate
you.
to I hate to cut her off, but
Oh no,
because
no, no.
I ran out of tissue and
Oh,
I'm like, I really
oh
need to
no.
blow my nose right now.
Believe me, 2 weeks ago I was in the same spot. So I'm gonna say hi to Scolder here. Thanks for jumping in. So I'm not gonna take too much longer, but one last question, if you're okay with it, I'm
Yeah.
gonna throw out there. With as much as you've done on all the different formats, if somebody was gonna start off brand new, not saying recommending a platform over the other, but would you have any advice to give to somebody that was like, I love movies, I love collecting, and I want to talk about it, and any words of wisdom or advice you would throw out to them to get started?
Um, I would say if you're trying to start because of your love of physical media, I would just start sharing the things that you like and don't expect anything to happen.
Yep.
Because when I started, I was not. I was doing it to keep track of my steelbook collection for myself. And then that
Yeah.
slowly garnered an audience. And over time, I was able to kind of make the decision for myself to put more time into this. And it does not happen overnight. Just
Right.
make posts that you enjoy, and hopefully what you enjoy grows an audience out of it.
Yeah.
If that's what you're looking for. If you just want to, if you're happy with just like kind of what you're making, that's all that really matters.
Yeah. If you just want to share your opinion or voice on what you're watching or what you're collecting and enjoying that. No, that's
Right.
great advice. And not to expect too much from it. And not
Correct. Yeah.
saying, not downplaying what anybody can do, but just do it because you love doing it, and not have, it's not an immediate response, because you didn't, where you're at right now didn't start day one either.
I
Right?
posted sporadically for 3 years without anything happening.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yep.
And then, like I said, with the TikTok thing, I told myself, okay, let's just try to make a video every day for a month and see where that goes.
Yeah.
And I think that first month, like 3 videos that I did over like 100,000 views. So I'm like, okay,
Nice.
there's something here.
Yeah.
Let's continue this push on. Let's try it for 3 months, and then that 3 months has turned into 3 years. So of everyday content.
But like you said, 3 years before that, kind of, you got to that point.
It was
Though.
just yeah. It was just I was still just doing it
You
for
weren't
fun.
being regular with it, kind of the thing. But
No, it was just like whenever I had an idea, I would post something.
yeah. Yeah.
But I do think if you do plan on focusing on actually growing an audience, post every day. Doesn't matter what you post, just post every day. Be consistent about that. Doesn't matter about what you post. Just
Yeah.
make sure you're doing something every day, because not only does that like make the creativity go in your brain, it also has people that are sporadically on whatever app you're on see your content or have a better chance of seeing what you're putting out there.
Yeah. Well, I know I need to do better at that, but
Well, you don't need to if you don't want to. Like that's the thing. Like nobody should feel obliged to do it. As long as you
Yeah.
like what you're doing and where you're currently at, that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
That's the biggest hurdle to go over.
Yeah. As long as you're having fun with it.
Correct.
But no, very good. Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna wrap it up here, because I know you're fighting some of the cold there, and you've been very generous with your time hanging out here for quite a while with me. And so everybody that's been in the chat, I appreciate it so much. I know Jake does as well too. Anytime we do these things, that's the reason you do it live instead of a pre-recorded, is because you get people like all of you jumping in here and throwing in the chat and joining in with the conversation. So we all appreciate it so much.
Absolutely.
That's the reason we do the live streams. So like I said, all of Jake's, well, I got a bunch of his links in the description. Please go check out his things if you haven't already. If I don't know, I trip over my words a lot, so I'm going to stop there.
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody going in here. Jake, I appreciate you. If you'll hang out for just a minute when I log off here, but everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Whether you're the long run or just a little bit or on a replay, and we'll talk to y'all here real soon.